what got you into bike building?
I've been making a bobber out of it, inspired by vintage tractors. I see mechanics in like a Rain Man kind of way, and you just don't see all the bad things because you really want it.
I've had a girlfriend like that in the past, yeah.
Creative people need to value their time like tradespeople do, if that makes sense. Like, is it pronounced Joby or Jobby? It is just bike building porn. Like, it's like, this is, I'm watching it going like, ooh.
Mrs. Shoogly Shed's a very lucky lady.
Ooh.
From that question, Euan, what we can surmise is you met a French guy on the internet through an app who's great with his hands.
Fantastic.
Down in the dirt.
I'm like 32, but I'm also pretty technologically like special. Actually, I'm of that generation that should actually like this should be second nature, but
It skipped you, did it?
my wife. Yeah, I'm using my wife's laptop and her headphones and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I was literally like, and she's away just now, and I was like, I don't know the password for your laptop. How do I connect the Bluetooth? And she's
Nightmare. That's like every time my dad phones me, I know I'm in for like a half-hour conversation trying to talk him through, like, I don't know, opening a file or downloading a file or something. You're like, oh god, here we go.
My daughter's 7 years old, and she's already more ICT adept than I am.
Yeah, it's frightening, isn't it? How quick?
Yeah,
like youngins. Jesus, how old do we sound? But it's true, though, isn't it? Like everyone used to, I remember my folks and like aunts and all that, their generation saying, you just get it so quick. And it felt like second nature to me when I was a wee kid. And now it's like...
The problem is, like, you hand a child like a printed photograph and they try to zoom in on it.
Try to zoom in.
Oh.
Yeah. At least we stand a fighting chance after the apocalypse. We'll see.
Yeah, well, maybe.
I'm coming to your house because you can build engines. You can fix engines. I'm coming to you.
Yeah, well...
what have you been up to?
Try.
Is this the latest build?
So, the latest build has basically been a bit of a funny one. It's definitely divided opinions. So I got a good friend of mine, a guy called Christoph, said to me, I've got this bobber. It's a Kawasaki GT 550, 1977, I think. Sorry, 1987. And he was like, it's got an engine problem. I'm not really inclined to fix it. Do you want a new project? And I was just actually between projects at the time, so I thought, yeah, why not? So I got it off him, and I've been making a bobber out of it, inspired by vintage tractors. Which, I mean, I like vintage tractors. I've always wanted to own one, but I don't really have the space for one. So I thought I wanted to push my fabrication skills a little bit, and the more arty-farty concepts of bike building, rather than just building another cafe racer or another street scrambler or something, you know. I really enjoyed the last build that I did for Tom Hurley. Do you know Tom? He makes seats.
Tom Hurley.
So,
do you know, I think I've heard that. I think I know the name.
Yeah.
Tom Hurley.
So Tom makes the most like bespoke, beautiful seats for bikes. But not only that, but he really focuses on like comfort as well. So a lot of his development and research that he does himself is to make not only the seat look nice, but perform better than like a stock seat would.
Right.
There's a lot of like trimmers just retrimming a seat and putting the same factory foam back into it. Whereas Tom does a lot of work with special medical gels and memory foams and all this kind of thing, and makes these really comfy seats. But Tom, he did the seat for my XJR 1300 that I did, and then he'd asked me if I wanted to build a bike for him. So we built an XV 750 sort of desert scrambler. So instead of doing a chopper or a bobber with that V-twin, we turned it into a scrambler, put an Africa twin front end on it and things like that. Tom basically bankrolled a really cool build.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Where'd you come up with the inspiration for these builds?
I think a lot of the time it's just seeing other builders. You know, a lot of the time it's spending far too much time scrolling through Instagram and watching YouTube. You know, a lot of other YouTube builders, guys like Maxwell Hazen or Hazan. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but I think he's American. I think he's possibly LA based, and he builds these absolutely stunning works of art. And he's just finished a Ferrari. Basically, it's a Ferrari engine that he's built a bike around. I think it's a V12. A bit like Alan Millard's, Viper V10. Like, it's that engine, and then he's just fabricated this, front and rear subframes that go onto it, and it's just wild. It's so cool, and it's beautifully done. The fabrication is incredible, and I take a lot of inspiration from people like that. Just trying to emulate them in a small way. He does a lot of metal work, metal shaping, body panels, and things like that. So I really do enjoy, watching people do that kind of work, and then trying it myself and failing multiple times, but then trying again.
When you decide right, I'm ready to come up with a new build, I'm ready to start the next project. I'm assuming is it a case of, right, you find a donor bike and then crack on and come up with the inspiration, or have you already got in your head, right, this next one I want it to be that bike, and this is what I'm wanting to do with it? You like picture it in your mind, or is it a case of you just go with the flow and see?
So a lot of my builds have kind of fallen into my lap, and I've had to basically been given that blank canvas of a bike and then do something with it. But the exception to that would be my Yamaha, the XJR 1300 that I built 2 years ago, because that was a bike for myself, and that was my kind of dream bike, as it were. Ever since I passed my test, I just loved these big muscle bikes, the big CBs and things like that as well. But I just really had a soft spot for the XJR 1300s. And I thought a custom one of them would be really cool. So I went out of my way to find one, because I wanted to build that. And I bought an absolute basket case, paid way too much for it. I got that total, I don't know if you've ever had this, when you go to buy something and you just don't see all the bad things because you really want it. I don't know if you've ever gone to view a bike or anything. And
I've had a girlfriend like that in the past, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's only once you get them home that you see all the bad things and you realise that you don't like the way that they eat.
No comment, no comment. Yeah. No, I get you.
No, so I got this thing back, and it wasn't until I started posting photographs to friends that I was trying to take a photo of it, and I thought, this thing looks absolutely horrid. Like, it. There'll be photos all over my Instagram. If you look back, I can maybe fling you some if you want. But it was more or less stock, but it had been attacked by someone who fancied themselves as some kind of custom paint artist. Horrible big blue paintwork with like lime green XJR 1300 sprayed up the tank, and
special.
Just every little. If you go on eBay and type in XJR 1300, people sell these little like laser cut aluminium inserts for your swing arm. They do the brake caps, the brake reservoir caps. Everything that you could possibly get had been put on this bike. Just no taste whatsoever. And the more I dug into it, the more I realized it obviously hadn't been run for many years. The wiring was more or less non-existent. Like, the guy was said to me, it's not got a battery just now, but if you stick a battery in it, it should fire up. And I was just like, yeah, that's fine. I'll buy it. So there's a whole video series on it, but this thing was a complete mess. When I went to do some work to the fuel tank, there was like a couple of dissolved rubber gloves in the fuel tank. The engine was partially seized, and like one of the cylinders was full of water, and It was dangerous, frankly. The way that guy had sold it to me as well was, oh, if you like tinkering, just a weekend of work and it'll fly through an MOT, and it just couldn't have been further from that.
Did you ever get back in touch with him?
Nah, I'm too much of a pussy for that. It's just like I've bought many lemons in the past and just tried to learn my lessons from it. But this one, at least I knew that. I knew it was going to be a good donor for a custom, if that makes sense. Because I'm not going to go and get like a beautiful example of a early noughties muscle bike and then tear it to bits.
Yeah,
because that would be a shame to a degree.
This podcast is once again supported by Conqueror's Motorcycle Apparel. Now, they are a biker's clothing shop built by bikers, run by bikers for people who actually ride. No corporate nonsense, no guessing games, just riders who know their kit inside and out. Walk through the door or jump online and you'll get nothing but 5-star service. The kind where someone actually listens, knows the gear and won't flog you rubbish just to make a sale. For an independent shop, the range punches well above its weight. Helmets, riding gear, casual wear and the bits you didn't know you needed until a proper biker pointed them out. And if you're shopping online, here's the kicker. Use Fisters10. Yep, Fisters10 at checkout for a 10% off. Because good gear should come with a bit of respect. Conqueror's Motorcycle Apparel, built by bikers, backing bikers. What goes through your head then when you find out, okay, I've got a lemon here? Like, watching your vids, it strikes me that you like a challenge, and you possess the knowledge.
Yeah.
To me, anyway, someone that struggles to put air in my tires. You strike me as someone that has the knowledge, basically, to take a bike right back down to the bare bones and then just rebuild the thing. Like, whatever problem comes your way, you seem to, watching your vids, and I appreciate there's a lot of edit involved, but a problem presents itself and you're just like, yeah, all right, okay, we'll work around that, we can sort that out, and bosh, you just come up with a solution and off you go. I'm in awe of that sort of mechanical knowledge. I just think that's awesome. Yeah,
I mean, it's weird and it sounds really horrible to say, but I don't really understand why everyone can't do it. If that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
It sounds really arsey and quite up myself. But I see mechanics in like a Rain Man kind of way. Like, I can just, if I take something to pieces, I don't need to photograph it or anything. I know how it goes back together.
Wow.
Like, my brain can just do that. And even more, like, further from that, if you give me a pile of parts, I can figure out how they go back together. Like, and I used to be a bit like you. I used to be in awe of that. I had an old school friend whose dad was really into motorbikes, and my family never touched motorbikes really. Just that was kind of, not their thing at all. But I really envied this lad because his dad had all these classics that he built from like cardboard boxes. So he would get his thing was to buy like an old Ducati Desmo or something in multiple cardboard boxes and then spend many, many months and hours building this thing up. And it blew my mind. I was like, God, how do you do that? But I wanted to get a start on it, and I bought. It all started with a GS 500, a little Suzuki GS 500 that I bought 2 broken engines from a guy, and I figured if I buy a Haynes manual, I bet I can make one good engine out of the 2 engines.
Yeah,
and I mean, like, I have a pile of them, but Haynes manuals really do kind of hold my hand through the whole thing. You know, I can stop the camera and be like, how does that go together again? Or I just like. I think a lot of it is just, I don't know, like blind confidence, arrogance, maybe. Just like, how hard can it be? But suck it and see, I think, has always been my attitude to it. And it's, I have had my fair share of mess ups shall we say.
Learning experiences. I think that's what you call them, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's always nice when you post these learning experiences to the wider web and you get told how much of an idiot you are. I don't know if are you familiar with is it that Dirty Garage guy? Matt, I think his name is. Matt runs a channel which just seems to be based upon hurling banterful abuse at motorbike builders.
Is he the one that did a vid on TMF's sort of custom build? TMF bought I can't remember what bike it was, but he basically got a bit diddled, to be honest, and the people made a complete kibosh of it. So he ended up having to get somebody else to sort of rescue and build this bike for him. And right. I can't remember what bike it was, but let's say the bike was worth $5,000. I think TMF ended up chucking about 10-15 grand at this thing and ended up with a bike. And there was another channel that sounds very much like this guy that just tore him a new one, had a pop. And you're like, come on. So I remember watching it and thinking, oh, no, that's not.
I watched quite a lot of his stuff back in the kind of earlier days of his channel, and there was like amusing aspects to it, but then he started coming for builders that I quite liked, and I was like, no, don't say bad things about them. But I never really got it. Anyway, when I was building my XJR, I had this big rigmarole whereby I bought a set of spoked wheels for a Ducati GT 1000 under the complete illusion that they were a direct fit. I don't know. Well, I do know where I got the idea from. My good friend Struan, who you've obviously chatted to before.
Remotorcycled, yeah.
Remotorcycled Struan sent me this screenshot of a custom XJR with these spoked wheels and said, oh, these wheels are off a Ducati GT 1000. They fit the bike. And I was like, brilliant. So I went and spent about £1,300 on a brand new set of spoked wheels, and they arrived, and they weren't even close to fitting. Like, wildly different. And because I'd spent the money, I figured, well, I'm going to get them to fit. Like, there's no two ways about this. I'm going to make them work. And they did eventually, like, to spoil it, but one of the jobs was to try and get the front brakes working. So using the XJR, like the Yamaha Blue Spot brakes, and repositioning the calipers to line up with where the discs were now going to be on those wheels. I had just bought a TIG welder and was getting into aluminium welding. I thought, I'll just hack the brake mounts off the forks and weld them back on in the right position. And I did it in that gung-ho attitude, completely not understanding like the science and the chemistry involved of when you melt and re-solidify aluminium. Like the crystallizations and things like that, hydrogen crystals, like it significantly weakens it. Like unless you're doing it through like special non-destructive testing and things like that to make sure you're doing it right. I didn't know what I was doing, basically. And I was doing that with twin front discs on a 1300 bike.
Kind of, I would imagine, I'm not a mechanic, but I imagine that's quite pivotal, really. It's quite crucial in the design. Having a front wheel attached to the bike,
I would have said so, or at least the ability to stop that front wheel. So
brakes are for the weak.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not a fast rider, and I go through brake pads quite a lot. So I cut these brake mounts off, welded them on, and was like, yes, problem solved. This is going to be fine. And then I can't remember who told me, but someone said, Matt's got a hold of your video. And I was like, oh no.
Uh-oh.
And there was an hour-long video, and he'd filmed it live and there's like comments that go up during the live, obviously, where he watched my video and just took it to pieces entirely, bit by bit.
Oh no!
Of how this stupid little guy in his shed doesn't understand the engineering involved here. He's doing something he could probably, end up dead doing it.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, do you know what? He's right.
Yeah, he's got a point. Yeah.
He did have a point, and I couldn't hate him for it. And I ended up putting out a video basically explaining how I messed up and how I'd angered the gods of the internet and paid the price. But you know what? Like, I think in life, see if you make a mistake, like,
own it.
You could bury yourself deep in a hole if you try and ignore it. You have to own it, because
definitely
holding your hand up and saying sorry is one of the fucking hardest things that anyone can do, and I think especially men. But even putting yourself up on a platform like YouTube and then having to go back on and make a video and say, I don't know what I'm doing, I made a mistake. And you know what? I got loads of good response from it. Loads of people have been like, good on you for trying. There's loads of different, reasons why it was a bad idea, but at least you didn't find out by having both your brakes come off.
Exactly. And you bet your bottom dollar, there's loads of people out there building bikes who probably didn't know that either.
Oh, totally. Absolutely.
Or people who are going to go and do the exact same mistake that you made. So, I mean, that's how we learn, isn't it? You learn by making mistakes. And right, okay, cocked up.
It is. Do you know what? I am full of admiration for people who are just seem to be naturally talented, just seem to be able to effortlessly do things. But I think a lot of that is clever editing, or at least only presenting the good.
Yeah.
And I have even more admiration for people that show their mistakes, because it makes me feel slightly less of an imposter.
Yeah. We're all human, aren't we?
Totally. I mean, I've seen so many like bikes and stuff that people have built and thought, God, like, I'm rubbish at this. Like, look at that bike. That is just so cool. I have no right, posting videos on YouTube pretending I'm some kind of, God's gift to bike building. And you just see, it's the terrible thing about social media. You just see the best parts of everyone's lives, everyone's best achievements, It's one of the most detrimental things to people's mental health just now, I think, is just constantly seeing all the good parts of people's lives.
Yeah, definitely. I think you have to have a very realistic attitude towards social media, I think, and that if someone isn't presenting the bad as well as the good, you have to realize that even though all you're seeing is good, there's going to be bad there. And you see yourself, like, the more you put yourself out there on the platforms, you attract, you might get 999 amazing comments, but you might get that one. And the one is, that one negative's the one that we end up focusing on. It's human nature,
it's the one that sticks with you. And it's, I think a lot of it is tribalism in that kind of way. You want to be liked. I don't, unless you think you're some kind of like sociopath. Like, I think everyone wants to be liked. And so I could have 1,000 comments that are like, oh, you're doing a great job, really like what you're doing, build looks great. As soon as I see a comment that's like, I don't really like that bit, I feel like, throwing my phone into the air and screaming and running off, or just feel like typing some horrible comment back. And it's like, why does my brain, or why does anyone else's brain do that? It's like, why would you choose to ignore all the positives and focus on the negatives? Like, how is that getting you anywhere?
Do you bite? Do you bite on the comments, or are you able to just take a deep breath and move past it?
I used to bite quite badly. I used to bite with criticism, but mainly criticism that I didn't feel was justified, like people just not liking something I did out of personal taste. you know, and then just being like, oh, why do you even feel the need to comment that? Like, just keep your opinions to yourself, man. You know.
Yeah.
But you know what? No one's going to do that. Like, people have this kind of, well, some people just have this urge to tell everyone what they're thinking, and
to vent
when you've got to vent, yeah, or when you've got like a laptop or a phone in front of you, it's really easy to do that. And you forget that there is a little guy behind that who's reading your comment and, you know, lying awake at night thinking about it.
I've no problem with criticism, and like constructive criticism, fantastic. Criticism, that's part of life, isn't it? But it's when people try and make it personal, you know what I mean? When it's not just them having a critique about something you said or you did. It's when they turn it personal. That's what gets to me, because I'm like, I'm fucking sure you wouldn't do that to my face. And if you did, okay, fine. We can deal with that some other way. But just to have a pop and not expect, that's what winds me up even saying it. To think someone has the right to just have a pop and not expect some retribution for it, you know, a reply, a retort for it. I'm like, okay, no, you're getting both barrels. If you're having a pop at me, you're getting it back. And I'm like nearly 50-year-old man. I shouldn't. But I'm just like, no, I wouldn't tolerate it face to face. So I'm not going to tolerate it, you know, behind a keyboard. So, but, oh well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Brickhouse Builds and BJ English.
I know the name. Yeah.
Yeah. So BJ did a sort of one-man kind of mission against negative comments, and like was replying to them and just being like really just kill them with kindness sort of thing. Just being like, you know, I'm not sure why you felt the need to personally attack me, blah blah blah, you know, this kind of thing. And it did work to a degree, but then like he started getting negative comments printed on t-shirts and wearing them in his videos and things like that.
He did. All right, you're right.
Yeah, and I loved that. I was like, do you know what?
I think that's quite funny.
Like we said earlier, own it. Like, because nothing disarms people like being made out like a joke, basically, you know?
Yeah.
It's the best way to deal with it. And I don't think that I deal with it particularly well, but I wish I could.
I really like that idea. I might nick that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Have you ever seen that mean tweets thing that is it Jimmy Kimmel does it, or it's like they get celebrities on and they have to read out that have been tweeted about them. You know? Again, like it's just because it puts that comedic light on it and makes you realize how absurd and silly it is. You know, I felt like doing a very similar thing with a lot of the comments from that video, because like,
the break ones,
because the one that Matt did about my video, because especially if it was live, people were kind of goading each other in the comments and like, you know, again, I'm not going to pretend like I'm not enough of a target, you know. It's just like, I felt like if I did some kind of video and just said, haha, all these comments were quite funny, I'm not taking them to heart, but actually, does that not just make me look like I really take these to heart?
Inside you're crumbling.
Yeah. I'm not sad. You're sad.
Yeah.
I know, but again, like it's like I don't know why should I let these things affect me? I shouldn't, but you know.
We're human though, man. You know, you do. It's like people used to say to you, remember when you were at school, like sticks and stones will break your bones, but names will never hurt you. You know, like don't worry about the bullies, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that's great. But when it happens to you, it's hard not to take it personally, no matter how old you are or how big you are. You do take things to heart for sure. And especially now on the internet, because it's, you know, it's amplified. Like, fuck being a kid these days at school. Forget that. I'm glad I grew up without all this pish.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
anyway,
the internet.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to. The internet has given like your kind of barstool drunks like a platform.
Yes.
so they just have this kind of ability to tell the world you're complete nonsense. It's like, I mean, sometimes that's good, but
there's plus and minuses, isn't there, with the old Tinterweb? It's here to stay, I think, for the time being, anyway. So we just have to figure out a way of living with it. I suddenly thought, Euan, we haven't even done an intro, have we? We just got straight into this, straight in. Folks, if you've not figured it out yet, this is Euan Ryan, also known as Shoogly Shed Motors. Welcome.
Thanks.
30 odd minutes into the podcast. I see you've got the old tipple. I've got a tipple of choice here as well. What are you drinking?
Yeah, I am on Lucky Saint alcohol-free beer, which is a controversial choice to a lot of people, but I'm on call a lot, so I've just really got into drinking non-alcoholic beer. Not because don't be wrong, if I'm not on call, I would quite happily have an alcoholic beer. But I've become a bit of a non-alcoholic beer connoisseur, which has been a journey. It's definitely getting better. There's a lot of breweries making some interesting non-alcoholic beers, but there is a lot of rubbish out there.
But there are some really nice ones. Some of the mainstream ones are lovely.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're a Guinness man, but zero Guinness is lovely.
Yeah, there's a pub near where I live that does Guinness Zero on tap, and I swear if I served you a pint of it, you wouldn't say, "Hey, that's not Guinness." It's just you're sitting there with a cold, creamy pint, and it ticks all the boxes for me.
Does the job.
Yeah, and like I say, I'm not teetotal. I'm not like, I don't have any problems with alcohol or anything like that. But it's through being on call so much, it's just kind of a necessary step that I've sort of taken, and I really enjoy it. Like, it means I feel like I'm having some kind of a nice, relaxing beer, but if I get called out, I'm not drunk. Basically.
What are you on call for, if you don't mind me asking? If you can say.
Yeah, MI5. No, I'm a firefighter.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. So, fair play to you.
Yeah. So I'm a retained on-call firefighter, and then also a full-time firefighter as well.
Bloody hell. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How does that work then, being full-time but also retained? Pardon my ignorance, how's that work?
So basically, you are you do your four shifts, so you're 4 on, 4 off at the full time, and then in your 4 days off, you have like an allotted amount of hours to be on call. So for example, I was day shift today, but I'm off call just now, but I could be on call between when I get home and like midnight. And then I would be at work the next day, and the same again. So it's basically in my time off, I stay on call to provide cover to the local kind of area.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I'm not on call just now, but just I don't know. I quite like these beers now. I'm also working tomorrow. I'm at shift 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, so it's packing away a bunch of beers is probably not the smartest move.
No, absolutely. I don't
no
think
one likes work with a hangover.
Well, this is true. Yeah. I don't think there's a stigma there anymore. Like I've got loads of mates that will have non-alcohol beer, and there's no. In my friendship group, anyway, there's no stigma around that anymore. Like it used to be, like what weak? What you drink? Yeah, why? But it was also pish. I mean, it was just piss water back in the day. Now it's actually really nice, And
do you know what? Like the stuff that I'm drinking just now, Lucky Saint, like it's probably one of the better just like lagers. Like it's cold and wet. It's not gonna. It just scratches that itch, if that makes sense. Like,
I know, I got you. Yeah.
I really like craft beers and ales and things like that, and I'm like really quite passionately into drinking loads of different types, as is like Struan, for instance. I was up visiting Struan
and his
a
whiskies
month ago, and his whiskies. Yeah, I love whiskey as well. Big whiskey drinker. Like, I was up visiting Struan at his house, and we went to a craft beer bar during the day, and just like whiled away the hours drinking high percentage Belgian beers, and it was marvelous. It's brilliant. But
they couldn't get up to walk home. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but the flip side of that is that I can appreciate like enjoying something like this without it messing me up. Basically, I feel like there is. I know you say you don't think there is, but I think there is still a huge stigma around it.
Really?
But it is. Yeah, maybe it's just maybe it's just my friends are all arseholes, maybe.
But then you said you were 32, didn't you? Are you 32?
Yeah.
See, I'm 49, and without wanting to sound like an old man, you do hit a point generally in your mid to late 30s where, like, whereas you could go out and drink 5 pints, 10 pints, 15 pints, you wake up feeling a bit rough, but life goes on.
Yeah.
Like, I hit this stage in my mid 30s where I could have 3 beers, and honestly, I felt it for days after. Just hot. It's like having a cold. It was horrible.
Everyone said that to me when you hit 30, like that'll happen, and I was like, yeah, 29. Like I got a hangover, but I never felt like I was dying. But I swear to God, it was like a switch got flicked. I could have like a couple of glasses of red wine now, and in the morning I feel like hell. And I might as well have had a couple of bottles of wine, Yeah.
So you may as well just go the whole hog, man.
So I may as well just have a couple of bottles of wine,
This is it, chucking a whiskey as well.
Yeah, why not? Well, this is the problem, is like a couple of beers and then whiskey sounds like a good idea. And then you start, then the train has left the station at that point and you're screwed.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. The next day, you're burping whiskey for days thereafter. It's all,
Yeah. But I mean, and again, every time you wake up with a hangover, you think, God, why did I do this to myself? I'm never drinking alcohol again. And then, 12 hours later, you're like,
go beer.
I could have a beer. Yeah.
Then you're 3 beers in going, this is brilliant. Let's go streaking.
Yeah, open the whiskey. I know. I once listened to a podcast that had Lee Mack on it, the comedian, and he's teetotal, and I think he's also a vegan as well. So he's going to take all the flack. But
deservedly so. Really vegan.
How do you tell if someone's vegan?
They'll tell you.
Sorry, vegans. Don't know how many vegans listen to your podcast, but if they do, I'm sorry.
I'd imagine some. There must be some. They've got, because they're out there, aren't they?
I flirted with veganism when I was about to become a dad, because I was having some kind of crises about the planet, and I was convinced that I was bringing my child into a dying earth, and
what cows were killing the planet.
And if I became vegan, that was somehow going to solve all these issues.
What a load of bollocks.
It didn't last very long, I'll be honest.
I
was having a moment.
As I've got older, I don't know what, I've become a little bit of a hippie, I think, hippies, I keep saying hippie, I don't mean it in a derogatory manner, but as I've got older, I've found myself, like, I love meat, I enjoy meat, but it's things like, I look at like a pork chop, and all I can see is the pig, and I can't eat a pork chop. But I'll happily smash bacon or have ham. But there's a mental thing with me. We're like, oh, that's a pork chop, and it's starting to happen with. Is it?
Yeah.
Well, it's starting to happen with like lamb. I can't eat lamb now because all I think is the little baby lamb in the field, and I don't really eat. Well, yeah, I don't really eat lamb now at all. I don't have it. I'll happily eat eggs and I'll happily eat chicken, but I know that comes from a chicken. I'll eat burgers and steaks till the cows come home, but I look at a cow in the field and I must admit sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, how can I eat that? But I still do, don't I?
I think
like a steak.
It's more common than I think you think. I think a lot of people, I and it's just the way society has been, is that we've disassociated like meat from an animal. Like it's like most people would, you know, just see like a steak, they don't see the cow, and that's just you know, I think in a way that's fine, but I think also you should acknowledge where it has come from. And I'm not going to get on a sort of vegan soapbox here, but I would say the biggest thing for me is just trying to eat better meat. You know, just not settling for the wafer thin ham that's, you know, 85% water and cartilage.
Bits, mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I would much rather get like a slice of ham that looks like it's been sliced off a pig. You know, now that might sound a bit horrible, but like I like fishing, for instance. I'm quite a big angler, and I really enjoy catching a fish, walloping it over the head, gutting it, cooking it, and eating it. Like, to me, it's like it's hugely satisfying, but I think it's also really important to be able to do that. I don't think there's many people out there that will happily eat their fish and chips or their chicken nugget, fish fingers and things, but couldn't wallop a fish over the head with a priest. You know.
I've spoke about this a few times on a podcast. One of my best mates from back home, Crookie, he has his own shooting business, and I've gone up and been shooting with him, and you know, I don't really do the bird thing anymore, you know, shooting geese and shooting the pigeons and all that sort of stuff. But we've gone out and stalked for deer and nighttime lamping and all that sort of stuff. And he's a trained butcher as well as a trained chef. And you see him, like when he shoots a deer, he's literally there on it, and then he butchers it in the field. Job done, you know, and then it's brought home, dresses what he needs to dress. And then he'll make like venison steaks, venison haggis. And when you eat that, you know, that wild animal that's just been out living in the fields and the forests, that meat is incredible. It is a noticeable difference between like supermarket venison that you'll get. It's nuts. I mean, totally. I don't know if you can go out there and shoot wild cows. I don't know if they exist in this country, but
no,
the quality of meat.
To say if you go start shooting all the Highland cows that are in the fields.
Maybe just.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I do think that, like, you know, killing an animal isn't for everyone. But I do feel like you should make a conscious effort not to disassociate too much from the fact that meat is, because ultimately our ancestors, if you wanted meat, you had to kill an animal and butcher it. That's what you did. And the idea that meat only comes in plastic packaging is, I think, not the best for our society in general, and the planet, you know. But why did I start talking about this?
I don't know. It's interesting that we've got into this, haven't we, from bike building? But I 100% agree, and I do think life's cyclical, and I think we no doubt at some point, hopefully not in the future present. Hopefully not in my lifetime. That's what I'm trying to say. But at some point, I think we're going to revert back to like that hunter-gatherer lifestyle, where you're going to have to, you know, if you want food, you're going to have to go out there, find it, shoot it, kill it, prepare it. That's that.
Well, yeah. I mean, the way politics is going just now, that could be quite literally on the horizon.
Sheesh. You know, who knows? Who knows? It's crazy times.
Shoot a venison and swap it for a tank of super unleaded. You know.
That's it. Yeah. But right, okay.
Do you know what?
Let's get back on course.
It was Lee Mack. That's what it was.
Oh yeah.
He said. So his family, I think they owned pubs, and he was around a lot of alcoholism, and I think that's maybe why he's teetotal.
Right.
And he said, I challenge anyone on that kind of sunny Friday evening when you finished work and you go to the beer garden, if you make that first beer a non-alcoholic beer, you still get that quenching kind of, and you just maybe not quite as inclined to have the other six.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, do you know what? I can see the point there, and I can see why for a lot of people that is probably quite beneficial. Then a huge part of me is going, but I bloomin' love a good pint.
I've heard that same logic or reasoning from a couple of lads that have come away on my tours. They were the same. They were drinking non-alcoholic, and they said exactly the same thing. Like if they have like a proper beer, they will have 5 or 6 or more that night. Whereas if they have 0%, they'll probably only have a couple. So you know, there's got to be something in it, isn't there?
Exactly.
Anyway, let's get back to bike building. Let's get back. Otherwise, we'll be on religion and politics before you know it, and no one wants to listen to that shit.
And another thing.
Yeah. This episode is supported by Super Shield Auto. Super Shield Automotive provide the very best service in detailing, paint correction and ceramic coating of your pride and joy. They can also supply and fit products from many suppliers such as Chiggy, Akropovich, Hex, Denali, Visor and many more. Get in touch for details and don't forget to mention TeapotOne for a discount. That's supershieldauto.co.uk. If you love being around bikes and cars, then they are looking for someone to join them full time. Full training's given and a van is provided. Get in touch at info@supershieldauto.co.uk for more details. Okay, so what got you into bike building?
What got me into bike building? I suppose I've always been quite mechanically minded, and even as a kid riding BMXs and stuff, I couldn't leave a bike stock. You know, I had to go and buy bits from it from the local bike shop and
really. So it's like ingrained in you.
Oh, I mean, I was glued to Meccano and things like that when I was a kid. Like, I think it's one of the biggest kind of regrets in my life was not doing some sort of trade. Was kind of not realizing that I should have gone and become a mechanic or even like a mechanical engineer or something like that. I instead went and did filmmaking, television production, which is another facet to my life.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I've done some stuff.
We'll get into that in a sec then.
Yeah. But yeah, so I have always been quite mechanically minded and I've always worked well with my hands. And I think when I did my bike license, well, I met my wife basically. I met my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife. And I mentioned how I'd always really fancied riding motorbikes. And she was like, "Oh, I've got a motorbike." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, my dad's really into motorbikes. And when I turned 17, I said I wanted a car. He bought me a CG 125. And I was like, has he still got it? And she was like, "Probably." So I went to visit my now father-in-law and pulled this CG 125 out of a bush. It had like brambles growing through the airbox and things like that. Jeez. And I spent the afternoon at his house just tinkering away with it and got it running, having like no knowledge whatsoever, just asking him what I'm meant to be doing. And I got this bike running and just riding it around his driveway basically. And I was like, this is amazing.
Got the bug.
Yeah. I went and did a CBT, did my full bike license, and then got I got a GS 500 as my first big bike. Tinkered with that, got quite comfortable working with that, and that's when I got offered the 2 GS 500 engines. And I figured I might build a custom bike, and I guess it was all kind of round about that just pre-COVID-y time where that Instagram community was solidifying quite nicely. Myself and Struan were kind of becoming, just crossing paths on Instagram, and I just figured it was just something I enjoyed, and every free moment, and then that kind of really took off more during COVID when I had all that free time. My daughter was like 1.5 during COVID, so I would put her down for her afternoon nap, and then I had like 2 hours of like into the shed, manic, custom bike building, with a baby monitor like next to me. And as soon as I heard the kind of her waking up, be like down tools, Sporfiga, and then return to
Dad
lockdown,
duties.
basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose that's kind of it, really. It's quite organic, quite organic.
Where's the name Shoogly Shed come from? So obviously, like, I'm assuming where I'm from in the northeast, up Banff-Buchan way, Shoogly Shed's it's like an old rickety shed, like a Shoogly Shed. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So during COVID, basically, I was living in a flat with my wife and my child about 3/4 of a mile from my family home, like where I grew up. And there was like a 6x4 B&Q shed that I used to keep my bikes in, like bicycles, when I was younger. And when lockdown hit and we couldn't really go anywhere, like, I used the excuse of like a family visit, going to see my parents, to basically start working in this shed and start tinkering with my motorbike in the shed. And then, but it was like, it's the shed's been there since I was maybe about 10, so it's leaky and it's it's a bit askew, and I don't know. The shed was just a bit shoogly. the original Shoogly shed. And
that's literally where it came from. Just the shed, yep. Shoogly Shed motors. Love it.
Building motors in my Shoogly shed, and a lot of people have had to explain to them what Shoogly means,
right?
Because it's obviously not a common word to find if you're not from Scotland. And then when we moved house, when we moved up to where we are now, we're just kind of just north of Stirling.
Okay.
We bought a house, and the kind of prerequisite for buying that house was that it had space for me to build a workshop.
Yeah.
Shoogly Shed Mark II, slightly less shoogly, but I did build it myself, so there's still a decent amount of shoogle. It's not a straight line in the place, but again, like, I really fancied building my own workshop in my own space, and I'd never done any kind of construction before, so I just punched a laptop. Never done any construction before, but I just fancied having a go, so I learned how to pour concrete, and I learned how to make stud walls and make a roof and all these things, and just had a go.
You're one of them, aren't you? You're like a manly man.
I know. Yeah, except I've got a really high nasally voice and very little facial hair.
Man, I wish I think it's just laziness on my part, because I just think, I don't know what I'm doing there with that. I'll just get someone in that knows what they're doing. It's like, it's far less effort. Just get them to do it. But in my heart of hearts, I'm like, I wish I knew how to do that.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's just a question of, got this internet, crack on.
Yeah. See, with YouTube now, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
Like, when we first moved here,
God. Well, sound like my missus.
Pull your finger out, Bruce. Come on. When we first moved to where we are, I got a job in the local car garage just as a kind of a mechanic. Didn't do an apprenticeship or anything like that. Just a mechanic working under other mechanics, and a lot of it was like just figuring out jobs as I went along, and getting a bit of guidance from other people, but. You know how many times professional mechanics, like actual people with apprenticeships and years of experience, when you bring your car in for a service, will pull their phone out and look up how to replace cabin filter on 2019 VW Tiguan.
Really?
Yeah. And then it'll pull up a video and it'll be like some guy in, like, I don't know, like Mexico, be like, hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm going to show you how to replace and it's like, skip. Okay, right, so it's under the dashboard on the passenger side, there's 2 clips and the torque screw. Cool.
You're letting out all the trade secrets here, man.
I defy any mechanic, car mechanic especially, that tells you that they don't look at YouTube at least once a day for a tip is lying.
No way. BMW. No way BMW does that. There's no way I'm paying £97,000 an hour for someone to be looking at YouTube. No way. It doesn't happen.
I bet you they are. It's the magic toolbox. Like if you have a problem in life, I think now, not even like in mechanics, just in life, someone will have done an in-depth video on YouTube about it.
Yeah.
You know, like I was doing a full video building this engine, for instance, and it wasn't meant to be a how-to, but it was just documenting how I built it. And I got towards doing the timing, and I was following the instructions on how to set the timing, but it just didn't feel right. Like the chain felt a bit slack. And anyway, I won't go into detail. And I thought, screw it, I'll look up. And I found a guy in America, like, who'd rebuilt one of these and talks you through doing a top end rebuild. And he was like, so you have to set it to here, and it will feel a little bit slack, but don't worry, the slack gets taken up when the cam chain tensioner goes on. And I was like, there you go. I've now got this guy's word for it that what I'm doing is okay. You know? Yeah. And it's his fault if the engine blows up when I try to start it. You know? But I don't know. I get comments occasionally from people who've obviously come to my videos for advice, or have tried to watch something that I've done to learn how to do it. And it's not usually how I structure my videos. Like I don't usually do how-tos as such. I'll talk about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, but it's not really meant to be instructional. But then occasionally you get a comment being like, say for instance, the Ducati wheels for the XJR. Hi, can you tell me in depth how to fit these wheels on my XJR? And I'm like, no. Like, I did 3 episodes on it, and a lot of it involved going and buying a 1940s Myford lathe and learning how to use it. You know, because that was the only way I was going to get these wheels to fit, was if I learned how to machine on a lathe. And, you know, I did, but there was a lot of scrap. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
We're talking about videos then. So obviously you let slip that you've got a background in film and editing.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Again, it's hard to put my finger on it. I left school at the end of 5th year in Scotland, so I was like 16, about to turn 17. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I had a couple of little part-time jobs in shops and stuff for a year, and then I decided I should probably get some kind of higher education. And I think I was just genuinely going through a college, like a list of like courses you could do at this college. One of them was television production, and I thought, that sounds quite interesting. You know, I quite like taking photos and things like that at the time, so I thought, yeah, I'll apply for that. So I did, and I did 2 years at college doing TV production, learned how to do camera work, editing, sound editing, and things like that. And I did a very brief stint working for the BBC when I left college, and then I went freelance, and I was a sort of freelance filmmaker for about 5 or 6 years.
Wow!
Mainly doing like
sorry, you're just a way to say apologies.
Mainly doing like outdoors stuff. So, a lot of like remote access camera work, so filming up mountains and things like that. And making films about like rock climbers and mountaineers and that kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It sounds cool. It felt a bit unglamorous at the time. Yeah.
So what you would edit as well then? What you editing on?
Yeah. So I studied, when I was studying, I learned on Premiere, Adobe Premiere. But when I wrapped up my filmmaking company, I no longer could expense the subscription to Adobe. I started using DaVinci Resolve.
Oh, another one on DaVinci.
Yeah.
Lots of people moving on to that now.
I mean, see, because like it's free for starters. You can obviously get the Studio, the Pro version. But see, for the majority of people like myself, like YouTuber content creators, the basic DaVinci is phenomenally good. It's a pro level editing software that has so many features to it. You'll never use them all. And the only caveat to that would be that it's the way to use it is like a professional editing software, so it's not the easiest to learn.
Right.
When I studied, a lot of it was about learning how to use editing softwares, and although I'm on DaVinci now, there is a lot of similarities between that and Premiere.
I think there are across the top three, really. Premiere Pro, I use Final Cut, and DaVinci. There's a lot of similarities there, but I'm not sure. Does DaVinci have the magnetic timeline like Final Cut has? Or is it like Premiere Pro where you literally just drag stuff around and line it all up?
It's magnetic timeline. So you mean like if clips snap together sort of thing?
Yeah, the way Final Cut works is you've got your principal timeline there where your A roll will be on. And then if you have the timeline activated, which most people do, if you were to say you've got 30 clips all lined up on that A roll timeline, and you'll have some B roll over the top of it where you want it to be. If you took a clip out from the A roll, so you're taking, say there's a 5-second sequence that you take out. With the magnetic timeline, everything just clips back together. So it's as if that clip wasn't there anymore. It just fills that void. You can set it so it just stays, and you fill that with however you want.
Adobe and DaVinci have something called ripple delete. So when you delete that clip, it leaves the gap, but you right click on the gap and hit ripple delete, and everything shuffles along.
Yeah,
in
gotcha.
order. I don't know. Again, they're possibly quite good. Be a setting for that that I'm not familiar with, but I don't know. I'm kind of just so used to just right click, ripple delete, and everything shuffles along. Because I studied and learned on Adobe, I was glued to it. I was like, no one could persuade me to move on to, Final Cut or anything else for a long time. But then, this is going to sound really bad, but the financial aspect of having to pay for Adobe when I wasn't, expensing it to a business, I was like, screw that, man.
Well, it's a lot though, isn't it? I think it's like 40 odd quid a month. I can't remember. I think it's 48 quid a month. I think I pay for the Adobe Studio. And that, what's that?
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's like
no, it adds up, doesn't it? Over the year, that'll add up. Yeah. At least with Final Cut, that was just a one-off payment. So I paid that way back in 2010 when I started, and that's it. I've got it. Although they're just changing. They're moving to a subscription base now. So thankfully,
do you get unlimited like upgrades? Like
I don't know.
Because that's one thing. Adobe used to be like that. You could buy Adobe Premiere and for one like fee, but then you could never update it. Whereas with the subscription, like the Adobe Creative Cloud thing, you were just getting the most up-to-date version all the time. Yeah. But man, DaVinci's free.
Yeah.
There's no one-off payment. There's no subscription. Like, it's free and it is professional grade. Like,
it's hard to see by that, and it's just because I've got like 16 years experience of using Final Cut. The thought of having to invest some more time to get up to speed with DaVinci is just.
I get that and totally, but I am after all a bit of a tight arse, and
you're Scottish,
Well, I know. Gosh, terrible stereotype.
It's true.
I know. I hate it, but it's true. I was like, I can't justify paying for this, and this is free. I'm going to make the effort to just relearn.
I got you.
It took a bit of time, but it got there eventually. And it's funny because, again, like I said at the start, I'm pretty bad with technology, but I have this background in like video editing and things like that. But it's things like wireless connections that catch me out. Because even when I was filmmaking, everything was plugged in, you know. See, when I discovered like Bluetooth radio mics, well, not a radio mic anymore, is it? It's just a Bluetooth,
No, it's
like
just wireless mic. Yeah.
Like, I was like, wow.
Game changer though, isn't it? That DJI stuff now is I've pretty much just gone to DJI now. I was hanging on to I was GoPro for a long time, and then about 2 years ago I started using the Insta stuff. Well, Insta sent me the Ace Pro 1 and then the Ace Pro 2, and I loved them. Thought they were really good, and I was sticking with the lavalier mics wired in, but the rain eventually kills that. There's just no way of weatherproofing it. So I started using the DJI stuff. The wireless mics were just, they didn't, I like to use quick capture when I'm riding along. So, so the camera's in standby, and it wouldn't work with the wireless mics originally. So I thought, that's not working anymore. But they fixed that.
Yeah.
And now, like, I've got an DJI Action 5 on there, and I can have one wireless mic in my lid, just drop it in there, done, connects to the camera. And then I connect another wireless mic to a comms output. I've got a little wee system going on there. And that wireless sends it to a separate audio channel on the same camera. And it's like, fucking hell, this thing's amazing now. It'll last all day, put it on charge at lunch, job done.
I mean,
how easy is it now?
When I was working as a filmmaker, the size of the kit that I was using is like comically large compared to what people are filming the same kind of stuff on now. Like I was carrying like cinema grade, like just the body of the camera is sort of this kind of size, right?
Yeah.
And then you have like a shotgun microphone and then a lens, and you'd have a rig that it all bolts onto. So the whole thing would be like this size.
Yeah.
And like I was dangling off a cliff on a rope trying to film like rock climbers with it. And you're like, like, whereas people like have this tiny little thing now, like a little mirrorless camera that's shooting like 10-bit 4K, like really high quality footage, even more than that. I think. I mean, that's maybe out of date now. And it's like your phone now. Yeah, you can shoot log on your phone, and it's just incredible. That's what I mean. Like I shoot on a Lumix GH4, like a little mirrorless. And again, that's really old hat compared to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know a lot of builders and stuff are shooting on a lot of like Sony cameras.
Yeah.
But the one saving grace is that this thing still shoots 4K. It's got like, it can take external audio at good quality. You can control the rates and stuff like that. And I've melted and smashed 3 of these cameras now, and you can always find them on eBay secondhand for about 200 quid.
Yeah.
So I'm like, see, for a sacrificial camera that's filming in a workshop that frequently gets sprayed with grinding sparks, welding sparks, or I just knock a tripod and it falls, 6 foot onto a concrete floor. I'm like, if I'd done that to like a couple of £1,000 Sony camera, I'd have, bankrupt myself.
Right, absolutely. So, do you just film with one camera setup then? Because what I love about your content is the multitude of angles, because it just keeps like the story. It keeps people's attention. Everything flows. I love the way it's almost Casey Neistat now, ish, in that you'll have a couple of different angles going on of the same procedure that you're working on. And for me, I look at that and think, oh, that's one camera. That's taken a long time to set up. But even if you've got a couple of cameras on the go, you still seem to be conscious and aware of where the cameras are, and you seem to position yourself and your hands so you're not obstructing the view of those cameras. Is that a conscious thing, or is it luck?
Yeah, I mean, no, it is. I mean, it's conscious, semi-unconscious in a way that I've done it, professionally to the point where it becomes a bit more second nature. But yeah, it's just one camera I shoot with. I'll occasionally shoot time-lapse stuff from my phone. I've got over here. this little guy, which is really cool. This is it pronounced Joby or Jobby? I'm never
Well, we're
sure.
Scottish, so we'll call it Jobby, but I think it is
It's
Joby.
Jobby.
A wee Jobby.
A wee Jobby. They make the Gorilla Pod was their kind of initial invention, but what this is it's a automatic slider. So
really,
this thing articulates and goes full extension, so that I can't do it because the motor's not on, but that thing goes over here, and your phone obviously goes into the clamp, and then with the app that it uses, it will record a time lapse and slowly, go through its full range of motion, which is like over to here, and you get that flowing time lapse movement.
Yeah,
and I think that was about 30 quid.
No way.
Yeah. So
and Joby make that.
Yeah.
I've seen like the Edelchrome ones, but they're like 500 quid, 600 quid or something daft.
Yeah, so that's it on, but it pivots at this point and at the base point, so it maintains the level kind of, and this red arm comes away from the grey arm all the way over to here.
Wow.
And it rotates at the same time as this one and that motor to keep itself basically consistently moving in a linear fashion. Yeah. And because it's like a Gorilla Pod, I can just stick it, I don't know, on top of the engine or something, and it can be moving along while I'm fitting piston rings, that kind of thing.
And it's tiny as well. Like, just chuck that in a bag.
Yeah. Oh, I highly recommend that. It takes a little bit of kind of getting used to what the best positions and stuff are. Like, again, because it goes all the way over to here, if you haven't got a good grip, it just falls over.
Yeah.
But see if that had been available when I was a filmmaker. Like, the kind of rigs for like motion time lapsing were thousands of pounds.
And they were massive as well, weren't they? Great huge big bags that you had to carry along everywhere. Yeah. With
motors that and like occasionally you set it up and you get it to be shooting the stars flying over the mountains, and then when you go to look at it, it actually your lens fogged up and you didn't get anything. All night. Stuff like that. So
the joys, eh?
Yeah. It's not it's something that I feel blooming angry about, is how easy it is to be a filmmaker now.
Yeah. There's no excuse, people.
Yeah. I mean, like we say, your phone, people filmed like actual cinematic release films on a camera phone.
Yeah. There was one at the Cannes Film Festival about 3 or 4 years ago, wasn't there? It won an award at Cannes, and it was filmed on like an iPhone 13 or 14 or something.
Yeah.
It's nuts. In fact, it might have been the 11. It's crazy.
It's slightly disingenuous because usually it would be in like a camera rig with a cinematic lens.
Yeah, exactly. £50,000 lens attached to it.
So, although it's technically using the iPhone sensor, that's about all, really. But hey, it's still impressive. Really impressive.
It certainly is, yeah. I kind of a fair few years ago, when I first started getting into this properly after doing the trip, so it was like 2016, 17, I was trying loads of different things and, really trying to, I loved Casey Neistat, and I was just like, that's what I want to try. And you sort of get a little bit disillusioned with it all because you put all this effort into stuff. It gets like 4 views. And then you look at somebody else that's filmed it on their phone or a GoPro and they're getting massive views. And you just think, fuck it, what's the point? I may as well just do that. And I've kind of just, I've fallen into the routine of just, helmet cam, cockpit cam, maybe use my phone, bish, but occasional bit of drone, chuck it in. I'm kind of feeling like I want to experiment a bit again. I want to sort of push myself a little bit more.
I mean, some of the channels that I watch, there's a Japanese guy, his channel's called 46 Works, and he builds these, absolutely stunning works of art, cafe racers and like race bikes. Like he's also really shit hot on a bike. Like build these track racing bikes that not only look incredible, but function amazingly. And in that typical Japanese way, everything is just so clean and precise and just beautiful. And not only that, but the way he films it all is so cinematic. Like it's like watching, it is just bike building porn. Like it's like, I'm watching it going like, ooh, because that's the face you pull when you watch.
Mrs. Shoogly Shed's a very lucky lady.
Ooh. No, his channel's amazing, and his bikes are incredible, and his footage is awesome, and I just want to be him. I take a huge amount of inspiration from him, and I think a lot of my kind of one camera shooting style has come from him.
Right.
And it does slow down the process of everything I do, but taking that extra minute to move the camera and zoom in or zoom out and reframe, well, I'm really glad to see that you seem to appreciate it, because I never know if anyone does.
It's really noticeable, mate, because you don't. Some sort of like build channels when you watch, or workshop channels when you watch, it very much comes across as a bloke in his shed with a camera filming. Yours doesn't. It like I said, it flows, and you sort of you get invested into what you're doing, and the time just flies by like that. That's why I measure a vid by, like how many times have you looked to see how far through the vid are you? You know what I mean? Like there's some channels that you can just sit down. Adam Ryman, for example, he's one. I'll sit down, I'll hit play, and I watch that all the way through, and I'm not even looking to see how long's left, what else is going on. You're just totally engrossed in it. And your channel, I've found that with yours. I've been watching your stuff over the last couple of weeks, and like it really is noticeable, the effort that you're putting into that from someone that has tried to film in my garage, and the lighting's all over the place and the colouring from, because you're filming different shots at different times. I love the way you're putting stuff together. It's very noticeable. It's
genuinely very nice to hear that, because if you look at my viewing figures, and you'll know this yourself, like the analytics that you get on YouTube, my retention is terrible.
Is it?
Like, yeah. So, like, some big portion or percentage of my viewers stop watching after 30 seconds.
Yeah, same.
Just like,
it just drops off, doesn't it?
I do see what other people are doing sometimes, and you have like the really quick sort of the first 30 seconds of the video is like really fast cutting, and it shows you stuff that's coming up, and it's all kind of, and I just can't do that. I just can't do that clickbait kind of. I've tried.
But that's not you, pal.
I've skirted with it, but I just can't do it. Like
that's not you, so don't do it, because you don't want to attract an audience that isn't you. Do you know what I mean? I'm always told this by people with big channels. They always say that to me, and I always say to people who, I've got mates that have just started motovlogging last year, and they're so frustrated because they get like, some of them 20 views, 30 views, or a couple of hundred views, or they've only got, they're saying, I've only got 500 subs or 600 subs. And I'm like, don't worry about that. Just figure out who you are.
If it's 600 subs that comment and appreciate what you're making,
absolutely.
Now, don't get me wrong. There's obviously, again, like if you're trying to make money from YouTube, you have to have a certain amount of subs, and the more people that view your videos, the more money you're going to make. But if making money isn't entirely your goal, like just satisfy yourself with the thought that I've got 7,500 subscribers. If I had 7,500 people sitting watching in my shed, that would just be. I'd probably get stage fright for starters, but it's so easy to lose perspective, especially with online stuff like that.
Aye.
You look at a video and you're like, oh, that one only got a few thousand views. You're like, there's still a few thousand people that sat down and watched your video. That should be, again, by any measure, that should be impressive.
That's still human nature, though, isn't it? To look, you're going to look at your views, and you will you will use that as a measure of success. But as you said, it's not, is it? It's like, I like it. What's the community that you're building around your channel and your work? You know, like, what are people getting from it? What's the feedback you're getting? If people are giving you loads of feedback and that shit, you should do this, you should do that. If the overwhelming feedback's negative, okay, maybe you need to listen a little bit to what people are saying. But if you're getting loads of great feedback and the occasional bit of negativity, then you're building a community of people that are engaged in your channel and invested in your channel. So just keep doing what you're doing. That's what you need to do, and you will attract more of those people over time.
Totally.
Because people smell bullshit. I say this all the time. People sniff out bullshit very quickly.
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, one of my favorite people to watch, and he doesn't make anywhere near enough content for my liking, is Alan Milliard.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because I don't know if you watch much of Alan's stuff, but Alan's videos go against everything that YouTube likes, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, YouTube likes clickbait titles, it likes big, interesting thumbnails, it likes, music and punchy editing and, giveaways and all this kind of stuff, right? Where Alan's literally like got his phone, he's like, today I'm going to be changing the oil on my 1976 Kawasaki Z1000. And like, he's got millions of views and subscribers, and like, that to me is like, he is being the most genuine he can be, making quality content that is unlike anyone else's. And that is the exception, I think, that proves the rule almost, that that is successful on YouTube because it is so good in its own right, you know. And if Alan hired a cinematographer and all his videos suddenly became super high quality and really nicely shot, I don't think the content would be any better. And then the content, frankly, would be probably, I don't know, maybe slightly sullied. You know?
No, I agree with you. Yeah. But YouTube's changing. YouTube is changing. The algorithm is changing now, and it seems to be people seem to be coming back to this more. What's the word I'm looking for? People aren't after that full-on, polished, highly edited, punchy ADHD content. I think people are outgrowing that. People are maturing past that. There's still that out, sure. But if you look at a lot of the big YouTubers, they're starting to do long form content, half hour, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour plus. They're starting to do much longer content now. And it seems to be YouTube is sort of not favoring just that, but there's a few vids out there about how the algorithm has changed and what you should be looking to do because of this change. And it flies in the face of the old stuff. Clickbait goes against you, titles that don't line up with what's actually the content within your vid as well now. Because the algorithm effectively watches your vid like that instantaneously with AI. It just dissects your vid, so it knows exactly what the vid's about. It looks at your thumbnail and your title and your tags and your description, and it goes, right, does all this match? And if it doesn't, it sort of almost treats it like clickbait now, allegedly.
Well, I am encouraged to hear that, because sometimes it's frustrating, because like, you do see some videos that are absolute garbage with however many thousands of hundreds of thousands, millions of views, and you're like, why?
But you also need to remember, you can buy views, right? People seem to gloss over this. Anyone can go out there and buy, 10,000, 100,000 or more views. Same with subscribers and comments. You can do all that. Don't, because it will cane your channel. But you can do that. If all you're wanting to do is get the figures, maybe you want to try and attract a sponsor or something like that, you can go out there and get really impressive views, and Yeah, but you're not going to be able to live up to that unless you've got a massive marketing budget.
Yeah, which I definitely do not.
And that viewer retention thing you were talking about, that's entirely normal. Like, I would say 98% of the channels out there, myself included, we all have that in the first 30 odd seconds. It just plummets. But it's where does it plummet to, and does it hold that for as long as possible?
Yeah. I've dabbled in making shorts recently, like YouTube shorts, to just experiment, I suppose, a little bit with what my content can do and what it can look like. I struggle to fit the kind of information that I want to put in a video into 12 seconds, for starters. But I've also done what I thought would be really interesting, fast-paced edit with kind of cool fabrication or whatever, and it's just flopped. And then I posted a video of me putting a piston ring on. Like, this is a wee technique for putting a piston ring on where you sort of swivel the ring onto the piston. That's it. And it had like 250,000 views, 300,000 views. And I was like, what the? Like, why?
Because that's what people are looking for.
That and the video of me walloping myself in the face with the cylinder like that.
Oh, man, I saw that. Ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah. And I see why that works, because that's funny.
Yeah.
Everyone likes a fail video. Everyone likes to see someone get hurt. Right?
That looks so painful.
Yeah, that was a lesson. A lesson learned the hard way.
Sorry. Right, dude.
If you
Shall
haven't
we?
seen that, yeah, go and look it up.
Yeah, definitely. It'll give you a giggle. Shall we tackle some questions? Because there's quite a lot of questions for us to get through here, and we are almost an hour and a half in.
Oh, just blethering.
Yeah, setting the world to rights. Right, we'll head across to Patreon. So the clan over on Patreon, patreon.com/TeapotOne. First one, Andy. Evening, gents. Hope this finds you well. Just a couple of questions, if I may. Euan, what skill are you most proud of, and did that come naturally to you or not?
Wow. What skill am I most proud of? I'm going to take this in the context of like fabrication and things like that, because you know, I'm a fantastic singer, you know, and that's just no, I'm not, that's a joke. Fabrication wise, skills, I am probably most proud of teaching myself to weld. Like that and like TIG welding especially has been the most challenging thing, and it absolutely did not come naturally. I went from buying the cheapest flux cored gasless MIG welder on Amazon during COVID to I've now got quite a nice Artec machines, really good British company, make fantastic welding equipment. I'm not sponsored by them, but I would love to be. So if you're listening, Artec. So I've got my AC/DC TIG welder and my MIG welder as well, and it's such a difficult and humbling skill, and very unforgiving, but immensely satisfying when it goes well. And aluminium welding is something that I've been really getting into more recently, and I'm probably most proud of being able to glue, you know, bits of hot aluminium together and make them look passable. Because unless you've lit up a TIG torch with a piece of aluminium, it's so hard to describe how bloody difficult it is. So I think just welding in general is probably the skill I'm most proud of. And no, it did not come naturally at all. It was a hard fought battle to get to where I am. And I'm still absolutely nowhere near God's gift to welding. I go through a lot of grinding discs.
Like welding, when it's done well, is almost like a piece of art in itself, isn't it? When you look at it, it's just like in itself that is a beautiful thing to look at. Some of these welds. When you look at some of the exhausts that people create, you're like, oh my god!
Yeah. So the XV 750 that I built for Tom Hurley, we had Hitchcock's motorcycles make the exhaust for that. I don't know if you've seen Hitchcock's, but the Tom Hitchcock's that does he does a lot of. You can buy them off the shelf from him, and they fit a lot of Triumphs and like modern bikes, modern kind of like classically styled bikes, I think. But his welding is, I mean, I remember the bike went down to him in his workshop, and he fabricated this kind of custom, almost pie cut, high mount scrambler exhaust for this XV750. And when it came back, I was like, that's been welded by a robot. I was like, there's no way that's been welded by hand. Every weld was just spotless, and he'd even gone to the effort of masking off the weld, where it's all it's been blued and golded from the heat, polished the rest of the pipe, and then taking the mask off the weld, so you've still got that beautiful kind of heat coloring, and an absolute master. Like, if you're in the market for a custom exhaust, like Hitchcock's, you cannot do better than Hitchcock's. Like that really is something to truly appreciate, isn't it? When someone has such a grasp of their chosen art form or chosen speciality, where it does just, I mean, they set themselves aside, and you can identify someone just by the quality of their work, the style of their work. I think that's amazing when you see people that can do stuff like that. Oh, mint. Absolutely.
Right, last question from Andy. He says, for you both, how do you decide that a project is complete or not, whether that's a bike or a video?
Ooh.
That is a good one.
I mean, with my own projects, I suppose it's complete when I run out of money. But well, I mean, I suppose the XJR, again, to talk about it again, I rushed that to get it built for the Bike Shed show in 2024. And it went on display there, and I also had it on display at the Scottish motorbike show at Ingliston and things. But I hadn't really finished it. There's things I wanted to do, and I think it's probably finished now that it's not a show bike anymore, and I'm actually getting to ride it.
Right.
And I got to iron out all the little niggly things that, the bike can sit on a stand and look nice, but if it doesn't ride well, it's not,
it's not finished then, is it?
It's pointless. Yeah, totally. So I definitely feel like it's something I learned maybe the hard way by putting a bike, building a bike and then just jumping on it and riding it and getting halfway down the road and things falling off it and realizing that, there was lots of stuff to iron out. But show bikes can be like that. Like a lot of bikes at the Bike Shed, for instance, they're not finished. They are literally, they're show ponies, they're there to be looked at and goggled at, and they do look amazing and the paint's immaculate, but you do really want to just get your leg over it and ride it and see, does this thing actually function as a machine?
Yeah.
So I think I would call a project finished when it does everything. First of all, it does everything it's set out to be, and it actually rides like you wanted it to.
Pardon, sorry to interrupt. Apologies. There's a little bit of delay there. I'm just, what you were saying there, I'm going back to my uni days. I did civil engineering at uni, and we used to work with the architecture students sometimes on projects. So, you'd be given a design brief, and the architects would go away and they would come back with these incredible designs that you'd look at and just go, that looks insane. It looks amazing, but how the fuck do you build it? Like just the sheer engineering side of it and the dynamic side of it. You're just like, well, that bit is just hovering in midair. So how does that work? With custom bike builds, is it a little bit like that sometimes when you see a bike at a show, like somebody else that's built a bike? Do you look at it and just go, that looks incredible, but how does that actually function? Like, how does that actually work? Does the bike ride?
I mean, there is, I think there's a balance to be struck with show bikes that are also to be functional, like riders. My XJR, I always wanted it to look pretty, but I knew I wanted it to be the bike that I was going to take out and ride on a nice day.
Yeah.
But then you do see some bikes, like I mentioned Max Hazen earlier from America, where his bikes are works of art, but good God, if you hit a speed bump, you'd die.
Right.
You know, they are immaculate and beautiful, but I wouldn't want to ride it more than, you know, a couple of miles down to the local cafe. Without, you know, it's, but also then you have to decide, I think, at a point whether or not you're building a bike for those reasons or for the other reasons. Like this tractor bobber, I'm put like a foot clutch and a suicide shifter and things on it, completely unnecessarily. It had a perfectly functioning shifter and clutch setup before, but I'm trying to go down the more artistic point here of making a bike that is interesting to look at, but perhaps sacrifice that function aspect, go for more form over function this time. But you know, so again, I don't know, will this one ever be finished if it doesn't meet my brief of being nice to ride?
I know from a video editing point, I was very guilty of this in the early days, in that there was always something better. You could always do something better in the edit. You could always tighten up a cut. You could always, like, I used to try and do color correction and color grading. I just don't bother anymore. But I used to try and do that, and you'd be anal trying to match up all the different, you know, even if it's just being sat on a bike with a cockpit cam and a helmet cam. You know, they've both got different lighting, haven't they? So the colors that you're going to get from the two cameras is going to be different, and trying to line everything up. And I used to just waste so much time on just the tiniest little bit that 99.999% of people out there would never even notice. So now I am very much just, that'll do, get it out. Yeah. And part of me is like, have a bit more pride. But you need to be churning out a vid a week, you know, or more.
Yeah.
And, you just have to kill the darlings and get it out there.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, like we were talking earlier about moving the camera for shots and things. I think I could probably do more, but it takes me long enough to do the stuff that I do just now. And like you say, trying to get content out on a regular basis can just be all consuming. It's not my full-time job. It's, you know, I've got a life and I've got a kid and I've got stuff to do. And sometimes you're like, God, I've not put a video out in a fortnight now. YouTube's going to crucify me for this, you know?
I don't think that's right, though. I really don't, because there's people out there that do one vid a month, one vid every couple of months, and they still get great views and they still do really well. I think your community's there, and, you know, I always apologize to my clan all the time. If I can't get a vid out in 1 week, I'm like, I'm really sorry, it's coming. And most people are just like, don't worry, when it comes, we'll watch it. Just, you know, you got a life. Just put it out when you can put it out. But in terms of what you were saying there about you could have more shots and more, as someone that consumes your content, like, to me, I already really like and enjoy what you're doing at the moment, you know, in terms of the different shots and stuff. So in my head, I'm like, I think if you did any more, it would probably make you a bit not queasy, but you know what I mean? It would become excess, whereas at the moment, it's just it's just there and it just flows. It's really genuinely, it's really well done. I if it means anything, it really is well done. You know, I love the different shots that you're chucking in there.
That's very encouraging, because it's so hard to get feedback that isn't, you know, just comments, you know, saying one thing or the other. You know, it's you'll know yourself, if you've sat and edited something for a long period of time, you start to get like square eyes. You can't see the wood from the trees anymore.
Aye.
You know, sometimes just saying, right, it's finished is the best option. Just be like, right, I'm done. I'm not doing any more.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
Because
you do sometimes. You just have to go, that'll do, get it out, boom, Done.
Yeah, like you said, 90% of people wouldn't even notice that.
Yeah. Right, next question. Well, that's one question. But how long did that take us? About 20 minutes. Good effort.
I know.
We're on to another 7-hour podcast here, Euan. Right. David Hosey. Hello, both. Hope all is well in your world. Yeah, not bad at all, David. Thank you. Euan, I like these guys that things are no obstacles, but a wee treat to get in. Sorry. I like these guys that things are no obstacles, but a wee treat to get in there. Okay. So you have dug in there on a few machines. If someone was to dig around in you, what would they find? Sorry for getting heavy. Always wanted to see how people's minds ticks. Okay, right. I think I understand what he's saying there. Do you get it?
I think so. Maybe.
I like these guys that things are no obstacles, but a wee treat to get in there. So you have dug in there on a few machines. So yeah, you've come up against some obstacles in a few builds, and you figured out a way around it. If someone was to dig around in you, what would they find? Okay.
I mean, not to get too heavy, but
that's a very personal question, so feel free to bypass it if you don't want to.
No. Do you know what? Like, I have always been, or at least tried to be open and honest about things, especially things like mental health, right? Because we don't talk about it enough. Men aren't good enough at talking about it, and anyone that tries to shut down a conversation on that, I think should really be challenged. If you dug into me, I think you would find a person that is very hypercritical of myself. I, have traits of anxiety and depression and things like that, where I find some things a lot more difficult to do, like on a daily basis. But the kind of caveat to that, and the kind of good aspect of it, is that I never bottle anything like that up. I always make sure that I vocalize it with my wife or friends, and I'm really, really lucky that I've got this good channel of communication with people, that if I'm having a bit of a shit time, I know who I can talk to about it. And I think that's something that I'm very lucky to have, because I know a lot of people don't have that. But yeah, I think if you dug into me a bit, I think you wouldn't get the impression that I know what I'm doing all the time, because I don't. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I'm making it up, both in the shed and in life. And I suppose at the end of the day, giving off the impression that I know what I'm doing is nice, but I would never like anyone to think that I'm somehow doing better than they are because of the very limited view you get on my life with what I put online. Because there's so many people who I think fall into that trap of thinking that people on social media have better lives than they do. But like I said at the start of this podcast, you're only getting a very small snippet in the edit of that. So
you're getting a highlight reel basically of people's lives, aren't you?
Absolutely. I don't know if you're familiar with there's a kids cartoon called Bluey, and I've
heard about it but never seen it.
Yeah. So it's a complete, like, it's taken the world of children's television by storm. I dread to think what its value is as a company, a franchise, or a brand. But there is a group of parents that hate Bluey because the parents in it are so good. They always have time to play. They never seem to complain. Like, they are just, their parenting is excellent. And all these parents are like, you're setting unrealistic expectations for parenting, right? So that's where it gets a lot of slack, a lot of stick. But then I saw someone counter that with, each Bluey episode is about 7 minutes long. You're seeing 7 minutes of their day. You're not seeing the bit where dad goes into the bedroom and screams the F word into a pillow.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has 7 minutes of good parenting in them, a day, right? But it's
Hopefully.
okay to be like, oh, you hope so. But it's okay to be like, do you know what? I am really struggling today.
Yeah, yeah.
Go and watch a few episodes of Bluey, and I'll let this cartoon dog parent you for half an hour while I sit in the dark.
Yeah, again, I don't know if it's me. Just like the older I get, that it seems to be like people did not talk about mental health. You know, when I was in my teens, and I would even say into my 20s, mental health just wasn't a thing. It just wasn't spoken about, and then because it wasn't spoken about, it wasn't really a thing. Like, it just didn't register with you. There were people that had mental health, but, it's almost like, oh, well, they're the crazies. It wasn't like a majority thing. But I find it is spoken about a lot now. And I don't know if it's because if society has changed, but I've been affected by it personally, and I've got very good mates who've and are suffering quite badly through mental health at the moment. But it does feel, certainly for my generation now, like blokes my age and older definitely seem to be much more willing to open up about it now than we certainly were 20 years ago, for sure. Now, like, people come away on my tours, and over a beer, lads just open up and start telling you what they're going through, and sometimes it's quite comforting to hear that other people,
of course, yeah.
You look at some people and think they've got their shit in the bag, they've got it nailed down. But then when you speak to people over a beer, or, you're having a cup of tea at a brew at a cafe stop somewhere, and you speak to people and like they just open up and like, what, me, I'm struggling. I'm really finding this hard. And you're like, oh, fucking hell, so am I. It's like, it's kind of quite comforting to hear that sometimes, that,
of course it is.
Okay, I'm not a freak because I'm feeling this. A lot of people are going through it.
Yeah. It's something that I think we've kind of got to a point, I think, where it is moving in a better direction, and men especially they're getting better at speaking about mental health issues and when they're not feeling okay. I still think there's far too many men dying because of mental health. And it's something that I think needs a bit more attention to everyone goes through cycles, I think, for mental health. Like, you can have good days and bad days, and sometimes people just have a bit of a shite time for a period, and then they feel okay again, and all these kind of things. But I think there are some people who it's almost like they are like, what's the way of putting it? Like, terminally ill with like depression, and they just can never seem to get out of that dip. And I think that a lot of focus and effort needs to be put on figuring out why that is. Like, is it a chemical brain dysfunction of some kind, or is it a environmental circumstance or whatever? I think we are a lot more aware of mental health because of, things like Distinguished Gentlemen, or, that kind of thing, where people are a bit more talking about it in Movember and all these things, and making that mental health awareness a thing. But I think we also kind of gloss over the fact that you can have reasons to be sad and upset without being depressed or and I think that some people maybe, and this isn't to play down to anyone's issues, but like some people maybe mistake just being a bit depressed as having depression, and I think that we can fix a lot of the depression that people feel through conversation and through mental health awareness and talking about it, and it has the potential then to you get a handle on it before it gets away from you. But I do think that we maybe don't quite have it dialed yet when it comes to people that can't seem to get out of that spiral. And I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't know if medicating people up to the eyeballs is the answer, or I don't know if locking him in a padded cell is the answer. Like, I just feel like we can make all the progress we want to on making people expressive and talk and happy, but there is this little kind of subset of people, I think, that never feel like they're ever going to get out of that hole, and it's something
and
that
mask that. They mask it.
Yeah,
very
they get
well.
good at masking it as well, and that's something that's really hard. You hear a lot of stories about people, who unfortunately, succumb to mental health, and people go, "I would never have guessed. I would never have said that." And it's like, well,
life and soul of the party.
Yeah, these are the people that
all the time.
we're missing. So it's great that I can vocalize my mental health issues. It's great that we can do it, but we should normalize not masking it. I don't know.
It's a bit like when you triage first aid, isn't it? Like you're taught when you arrive at an incident scene and you assess casualties. It's not the bloke or the person lying on the ground going, it's this one, it's this one.
Giving their head off.
It's the one that's quiet, conscious but quiet. You're like, okay, what's going on with you? What's happening here?
Totally.
They're the ones you need to be looking at.
Though sometimes it can just be as much as, noticing that and asking the most pointless, benign questions, not even like about their mental health, just initiating some kind of conversation, and it can, it can be that difference for some people, I think. We've got very heavy all of a sudden.
But I think a lot of people are going through this, like it is shit times out there at the moment, isn't it? Cost of living, what's going on in the world at the moment, all sorts of stuff. It's just a very, very heavy experience in life at the moment. And then when you chuck in everything that people just go through in everyday life anyway, add to that everything that we've just spoken about, pressures of social media. You don't need to have a social media presence, a channel, a YouTube channel. You don't need to be an influencer to be affected by social media, do you? Like you just said, you could be a new parent sat there going, "Holy fuck, I have not got my bags in a row here. I am well out my depth." And then you see something like, say, this Bluey on the TV, or somebody on Instagram putting pictures up of their kids and their family life, and they just seem to be having a great time. Whereas you're going, I can't cope. I can't even get out of my fucking bed this morning. I don't know what's going on. So it's, I think it's, sorry, go on.
It's, no, I kind of stopped filmmaking round about the time my daughter was born. A few different circumstance changes, but that was kind of the main thing. I was a lot of traveling and stuff for my job, and I didn't feel like it was going to be a long-term thing anymore. Anyway, I took a job as a postman. I was a postman, just because I needed money and I had a new daughter and all these kind of things. And when my wife was going back from maternity leave back to work, I decided that I could either work and be a postman to pay for childcare, to pay for someone else to look after my daughter, or I could stop working and look after my daughter myself. And I was in a very privileged position to be able to do that, because obviously that financially doesn't work for a lot of people, but I was very fortunate that would. So I said to my colleagues at Royal Mail, I said, I'm gonna quit and I'm gonna be a full-time dad. And just about all of them went, I think I'd rather be a postie, pal. And do you know what? It's the hardest thing I ever did in my life.
Oh yeah.
I was not cut out for it. I think a lot of like parent and child groups, like meeting up groups, are very based around like mothers and children. A lot of the time I was the only guy at these groups and felt quite kind of, this is a bit strange. And it was the kind of incessant nature of it, and it pushed me so much to the point where I was like, my mental health took a huge dip, but I never felt like I wasn't going to get over this, but I just felt like this was all my own doing. Why do people do this to themselves?
Because your life as you know it changes, doesn't it? It's like
totally.
Your life is not your own anymore.
Yeah, I have a daughter now. She's 7. She's amazing. She's funny. She rides pillion on my bike. You know, she's cooler than me, cooler than I could ever imagine, cooler than I could ever hope to be. And I wouldn't change it for the world. But I also would hold my hands up and say, I wouldn't do it again.
No, I sympathise, mate. Like I was, I just turned 21 when my son was born, and his mum and I were together at the time, but we were both at uni, you know, and it was like she was from Wick, I was from obviously Mintlaw up in the northeast, but we were in Glasgow at Strathclyde Uni. So you know, becoming parents at 21 years of age with no family unit round about you, and none of your friends are going through that. You know, everyone is at 21, everyone's still out on the piss all the time. And all of a sudden we became parents. Hardest thing I ever, obviously we didn't make it and we went our separate ways. But until I moved to London, I had my son 4 days out of 7. And it was fucking hard work. And even once I moved to London, you know, school holidays, my boy would get chucked on the plane, he'd fly down, I'd meet him at the airport. I was really lucky in that my parents lived down in London by that point where I was. Right. So I had that family bubble to rely on. Even then it was hard. And like, God knows how it put me off. Like, I love my son to bits. I used to want a big family, put me off. And now I met my wife, you know, she wanted kids, and it scared the living daylights out of me, the thought of going through that again. You know, now we're older, I'm nearly 50, it's like, I've missed out there. I wish it had happened, but oh well. Not your plan in life, is it? It's not your path. Yeah.
Totally. Like I say, I wouldn't change my daughter for the world, but I don't want another one. I hold my I tip my hat to people who have big families and make it work. Like, that's amazing. And I am from actually quite a big family. But personally, I was like, Jesus, this is something.
Gives you a real appreciation for what your folks went through. And for me in particular, you know, it was like, oh my God, you know, my parents not only raised us and gave us a fantastic childhood and family life, they managed to stay together. You know, it was like, fair play to you. Tough work. Totally. Tough work. Right, next question. Adam B. Question for Euan. What is your go-to playlist when working in the shed, or do you prefer to work in silence?
I work in silence. And it's probably slightly psychopathic, and I know that a lot of people can't get their heads around that. But I have this sort of hyper focus ability to just kind of turn on to what I'm doing and shut out everything else. Yeah. And I can't concentrate if there's music playing. So for that reason, I don't listen to music. Which is weird because I love music. I'm a very big music fan. I play music. You know, I don't know. I just can't work with music on. Just can't do it. But then the flip side of that is I can't run without music. I go for runs for fitness, and if I go out without headphones, I know. Well, this is it, right? If I go out without headphones, I would very quickly turn around and come home. Whereas my wife, she's more of a freak. She goes and does these ultra marathons and things.
Wow.
And she does it with no music whatsoever, with no headphones or anything. And
she just raw dogs
get my head around that.
Jeez.
I would be bored out of my skull. Lost you there for a second.
I'd be listening to my own man tits jiggle about and me panting for breath. No, thanks. Listening to my thighs slap together. So, are you enjoying the podcast? If you are, please let everyone you know about it. Sharing at the moment is the biggest trigger for the algorithm. Obviously, you need to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. But if you can just tell one mate about the podcast, share it across to them, that helps tenfold. I love doing the podcast. I'm really trying to grow it this year, and you can help me out by doing that. So I'll love you forever if you do. Whilst I'm on the topic of support, folks, the only reason I can do the podcast and the YouTube channel and everything like that full time is because of my Patreon. In the clan itself, we do meetups, we do live streams. You'll get early access to the vids. You get first choice on the questions on this podcast. And you'll also get exclusive early access to my chicken strips tours when they're released. If you want to check it out, head to patreon.com/TeapotOne. And if there's anything there that takes your fancy, feel free to support me over on there. Right, that'll do for that one. Nigel Wallace. Hello both, hope you're well. Question for Euan and Bruce. I was just wondering, and probably everyone else is too, what is the biggest animal you could single-handedly cling film to a lamppost? Keep up the great work. Work, both of you. Nigel, you're a very weird man. Okay.
I was ready for this question. My cat, I think, would be the limit. And only because she's quite a docile cat. My cat, yeah, she's quite docile. So I think she would allow it to happen. She wouldn't be overly happy about it, but she would allow it to happen. I think anything bigger than that, and I'm not a big guy, I would succumb to whatever that animal had. You know, it would get me.
You must do jiu-jitsu. I thought everyone in their 30s these days did jiu-jitsu.
I did about 2 days worth of taekwondo when I was about 9 years old, and that's about the limit of my martial arts experience. I'm not a big guy. If someone started on me in the street, I would very quickly end up in hospital.
Size means bugger all, man. Size means bugger. I used to do the doors in Glasgow, and some of the hardest geezers and women I knew were the little nippy sweetie ones. They were like, I used to work with this guy, Al, who was a boxer and looked like a boxer. And Jesus, you could smash that bloke in the face with an anvil and he'll still stand there and knock you out. It was just nice. Hard person, you know, just a hard geezer. Talking of... Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Talking of cats, you're a fireman. Ever rescued one out of a tree?
I have never rescued a cat out of a tree, unfortunately. I've had a few animal rescues in general. Like I've rescued a cow, a few other things, birds. No.
You can't brush over that. How do you rescue a cow? How does a cow need rescuing?
Fell down an embankment. Nothing more exciting than that. Cow fell down an embankment and it was spotted by a fisherman who couldn't get in contact with the farmer, so decided the next best thing was to phone the fire brigade. So, yeah, rural firefighting is not quite what it's made out to be.
Oh, I'm intrigued now, mate. How did you rescue the cow? How do you explain?
So it was a young cow. It was a calf that had, I don't know, it become separated from the herd for some reason and fallen down an embankment. And it just really needed a bit of manhandling. It wasn't huge. So with a couple of burly firefighters and then little me, we could manhandle it up until we
just scrum it up the hill.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, and then we phoned round to the local area to try and find out who the farmer was, and we got hold of this guy eventually. And he came down in his Land Rover, and he got out, and he said, "Whose is that?" And we went, "Well, we assumed it was yours because it's in your field." And he claimed to have no knowledge of this cow or whose cow it was, but I think he eventually decided that don't look a gift cow in the mouth, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll have that.
Yeah. Stakes all round.
This is the plot for Backdraft 2, this.
Oh, God. Yeah. If you could make Backdraft worse, then yeah.
What do you mean? Is that not what life as a fireman's all about?
Yeah, I mean, more often than not, I don't go into fires with a hose. I just go at it with an axe and just beat that fire
absolutely.
to death.
Yeah.
So American firefighting is mostly axe work.
Don't spoil the illusion, Euan. Don't spoil the illusion. I used to work with Trumpton in the old Bell, so I know what you guys do. Very little. Yeah. That's what you do.
The water
Very
carries.
little. Yeah. LFB, London's finest burglars.
Yeah, night shift where you actually get to go to bed.
Used to wind me up, that. they'd have a sleep so that they could drive their taxi on the day off. That's what they used to do in London all the time. All the black cab drivers were trumping.
On the night shift last night, 8 hours in my bed.
Go out and do some building, plumbing.
Yeah.
Anyway, never mind. Right, next one. Patrick Hennessy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I bet you had some crack, though.
Oh, yeah, totally. You'll know yourself. Like, it's the emergency services, for all its kind of controversies in the past, it's got good crack. Like, it's good camaraderie. You got to keep yourself pepped up going through some difficult things. Yeah,
definitely. There's an expression that's used down here, and I'm sure it must be the same with you. But when you leave the Met, the old Bill, they say you don't miss. You don't. Hang on. You miss the clowns, but you miss the clowns, but you don't miss the circus, and it's very true. Yeah. I miss the crack with the boys, and for sure. There's some good times there, and you find yourself in unique situations, don't you? That normal people just wouldn't. They just wouldn't end up in some of the situations that you end up in. Yeah.
Oh, totally. And it's sometimes the best thing is to be able to share that with your colleagues, because you can't take that home and share it with your partner. You know?
Oh God, no. Yeah, normal people,
for good and bad.
Oh yeah.
Some situations you get into, like if I described them to my wife, she would be like, "I think you should go and see someone, because that sounds very traumatic."
Yeah,
but it's like, it's a job, you know. You have to see
it's the gallows humor, isn't it? It's like when you're dealing with death and serious injury and stuff. You kind of just have to have a laugh about some things, but
dark humor is, I guess, it's with the police as well. But dark humor is just kind of been the crutch that a lot of emergency services lean on. But I think we're also, not to go back to it, but we are getting a lot better at recognizing that you can laugh away some of the things you see, but there comes a point where you need to seek help.
Yeah. And I found now that I'm not doing that job anymore, things just rear their head. Just real weird, little innocuous things, smells, just a sight, a memory just pops back into your head, and you're like, oh, I totally forgot about that. It's weird how it just rises up sometimes, and you're like, Jesus, like where did that come from? Crazy. Like you said, I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah. Anyway, next one, Patrick Hennessy. Hello to you both. Question for Euan. With the amount of electronics on modern bikes, is there a cut-off point in terms of age that you just won't take on because of the possible issues they could present? Good point.
Oh, absolutely. I think anything that has like an OBD or a diagnostics port, I won't touch it with a barge pole.
Really?
Cars are different, but bikes, like, I think there comes a point where I like bikes because of the simplicity of the mechanical nature of it. Like, I like, you can see you've got two wheels and an engine in the middle and a seat and a tank, and this all works in unison and goes. But see, that's why I've never really liked sports bikes that much. You know, when you start putting plastic on things and making things look less like a machine, I start to lose interest. And I think when the electronics become so ingrained that the end user, like myself, is actively discouraged from working on it or from doing any kind of maintenance, it just does not tickle my fancy in the slightest. You know. And a colleague at work actually who's got an Aprilia, couldn't remember what it is, some kind of Aprilia sports bike, and it's throwing up an error code whereby it thinks that the side stand's down, but it's not, and it doesn't think it's in neutral, and it won't let the bike start, and the side stand switch has been changed, and might be something to do with the ECU, and I'm just like, that sounds...
That's just an Aprilia though, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Like a KTM, it's just part of ownership.
Yeah. But then the flip side of that is, like, I did a custom VMAX, like a 1986 like first generation VMAX, and that had some pretty advanced electronics in it for its day, like the V-boost system and like all that kind of stuff was actually fairly advanced, and there was some electrical gremlin-y head scratching to be done when I wired that, and I wouldn't have expected that from a bike from the mid '80s, but yeah, if the XJR is like 2002 and it is electronic ignition but still carburetor, like it's still very much the same electronics wise as many bikes from the 80s and 90s. I think when you start getting fuel injection and ECUs and stuff, it's just don't think I would touch them. Starts to push my comfort zone a bit too far, I think.
Fair enough. Well, that brings us on nicely to Biker Buddy's question. How you doing, Lee? What would be your dream build if money was no object?
If money was no object, I think it's the interesting thing. I'd love to build like a really like rare classic British bike, like some kind of rare AGS or like a Vincent or I've seen an old black and white photograph of my grandfather had an Ariel Red Hunter 350. I would love to get a hold of something like that and like nut and bolt restore it.
Oh wow!
Like not so much custom, I suppose. It's more like a resto, but
just a full restore, yeah.
Something like that I would really enjoy that. But custom wise, I mean, you can spend as much money as you want to on a custom bike. There are so many rabbit holes you can go down. Just go and buy a set of Ducati wheels and try and put them on a Yamaha. That's a good way to lose. It's a good way to lose a few £1,000s. But money is no object. Yeah, some kind of like Vincent, and then build some sexy cafe racer out of that with just that big vintage looking engine in the middle. That would be pretty cool. Lots of nice panel work and body work and things.
Have you got a project in your mind just now which you're aspiring to?
I do, and all of my more recent projects have been kind of leading up to it. I won't go into too much detail, but I've basically been doing a lot of body work recently, like learning how to shape metal. So I've got some metal shaping tools, English wheel, things like that. And I did a little bit of it on the XGR. I did more of it with Tom's XV750. I've done even more of it on the tractor build. And I want to basically build a bike that is fully faired, like full fairing, but all handmade aluminium. Wow. Probably like either brushed or polished aluminium so that there's no hiding any bodywork sins, like it's all on display. And I think I'm a ways off that skills wise, but I think I'm getting there. I do have a kind of donor bike in mind for that as well. So like I say, I'm not going into too much detail, but I think that would be cool just to, the sort of the really nice, I don't know, like the cool classic cars that have the big leather bonnet strap and that kind of thing. Yeah, just beautiful polished aluminium and even like rivets and stuff. That's something like that would be cool.
So chitty bang bang, that bike version. That's what you're looking at.
That's what this is going to be, basically. It'll certainly go bang.
Hopefully not, mate. Hopefully not. Right, that's all the clan questions. We've got some over on Instagram and one on Facebook. Have you got time for them?
Yeah. Go for it.
Cool. Right. You've already said, I think a lot of them on Instagram are people you know. So first one, J Hull Moto. Hey, Shoogly,
Sorry,
was the tractor bobber
Jonathan,
a commission or is it your baby? It's an awesomely creative project. So cool.
Jonathan is being very kind there. It's not a commission. It is my baby. It was inspired by, I mentioned previously, my father-in-law had into bikes. He had an old Kawasaki actually as well that had a vintage tractor cast iron seat, just like plonked onto it. Not much thought involved, but it was there. And I just thought, wouldn't it be cool to like use that idea, but then run with it and just try and bring in as many elements of a tractor, which is the antithesis of like fast motorbike, kind of bring all those elements together and make something that will just trundle along, look cool. You're not going to break any land speed records, and you're certainly not getting your knee down around the corners, but you know, everything about it will just try and, you know, strong arm some kind of tractor vibe into every aspect of the bike. So, you know, everything from creating dishes for the wheels. The wheels are like solid infill. From I made a louver press and like I've made louvers along the tank to kind of give that tractor bonnet effect. I've got a vintage tractor cast iron seat. Got a big stack pipe, like exhaust pipe with a little flap on the end. You know, just trying to go as mad as possible with it, and not really caring too much about what people think about it. Like, I've had a lot of people feed back to me that they think I'm having some kind of mental breakdown and need sections. You built this really beautiful XV750 for Tom, and you built a really nice XJR, and you're building this absolute turd of a tractor. Like, what are you doing? Is this a cry for help? But no,
variety is the spice of life, mate.
Well, you know, it's just definitely the form over function. I'm trying to build something a bit more arty than rideable, but I still want it to be fun to cruise about on. It's got big flat footboards with, like I say, like a foot clutch and a suicide shifter, and you know, just want it to be a bit of fun. So it's just, and
if you need to, you can take it down the field and plow it. Happy days.
Do some ploughing, yeah. And I don't know what the heck I'll do with it when I'm finished, because I can't imagine anyone in their right mind would want to buy it. I don't know, maybe Wurzel Gummidge or something, but that's about it.
Did you see Jonathan's bike he put down just at the bike shed show recently?
The what are they calling it? The Honda, is it GB 350? Is that right?
Something like, yeah. I pardon my ignorance, but there was a big thing about you couldn't. You basically, everyone said that you couldn't. Was it make like a see-through section in the? Pardon my ignorance around it. There was a big thing. Yeah. Everyone told him that he couldn't do what he did, and he did it.
You couldn't do I
just know the end result. That's it. And the end result, it just looked. I was supposed to go up and see it, but I couldn't in the end. But yeah, it looks beautiful in the pictures.
Yeah, I mean, so I think what he's done is, again, like we talked about earlier with ECUs and stuff like that. A lot of modern bikes, the computer programming in the ECU is all very much rigid, and it's very finely tuned and calculated for that airflow through the airbox that the engineers have designed to go into with the injectors to just mix the perfect amount of fuel to make the bike run. So if you go and take out the lung of the bike, like the airbox, you could be unraveling, you know, a whole lot of work done by the engineers, and the ECU won't be happy and all these sorts of things. So I don't know exactly what he did to overcome it all, but the fact that he did is impressive in itself. Because, I mean, as soon as you delete the airbox, I can imagine all the fault codes coming up, you know, and the bike going, no, this is, I'm not a 1980s cafe racer, right? I'm a modern fuel-injected bike, you know. But that said, I think he's done an incredible job of building a beautiful bike out of something that, you know, Honda have tried to build a kind of modern classic looking bike, and Jonathan's taken it and put his spin on it, and really a lot of his becoming like trademark touches. You know, a lot of his like bronze alloy work that he does a lot of that on his bikes. And I've known Jonathan for a few years now, and I actually managed to visit his workshop just at the end of last year, and I was down picking up a car actually down in Leeds, and I ended up it turned out I was passing by his house, his workshop, sorry. So I plunked him a message and dropped in on him and just saw what he was up to, and he's doing some really cool stuff, and I think he deserves a lot more, like a lot more business and like stuff like that than he possibly gets. Like, he's a really, really talented guy, and I know that he has said publicly in the past and stuff that a lot of his builds have been make or break for him. He gave up a career as a teacher and things to do this, and I've a huge amount of respect for him for doing that. And you know, it's all very well for me to be doing this as a hobby in my shed with a job that pays the bills, but to go full, you know, balls to the wall and make that your career is a super, super brave thing to do, and I think he deserves a lot of respect for that. And I think he could definitely, you know, his business should be growing faster and faster. The kind of quality of the bikes that he's building, you know, definitely merit that.
I agree with you totally. Yeah, he's been on the pod a couple of times. Very, very genuine and a nice guy as well, isn't he? Like you said, he certainly seems to wear his heart on his sleeve. I think he vented a little bit, didn't he, on social media after the show. People were just saying about, you know, I think he'd had some negative comments about the cost of his bikes, and he's like, you got no idea how much work's gone into this. Like, you know,
I mean,
it's not a mass-produced item straight out of a factory. It's effectively a custom hand-built machine.
Yeah, it's something that's really hard, and I found this in the creative industries when I was being a filmmaker as well. It's really hard to charge people the amount of money that mirrors the time it takes to make the things that you produce.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, if I build out every minute of editing, like, my films would have been just completely pie in the sky budget-wise. And it's one of the reasons I stopped doing filmmaking. I was working with, like, you know, 15, 20 grand budgets, but for just to make a short film for like a brand. But I was only paying myself maybe like £1,000 for like a month and a half worth of work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that I can't do that. Like, that's fine if all I'm doing is, you know, looking forward to the next trip. But when you've got a family and stuff, that's not compatible. So creative people need to value their time, like tradespeople do, if that makes sense. Like, you know, if a tradesperson, I don't know, your boiler breaks or whatever, and they come around and say it's going to cost you £300 to fix it, you wouldn't be like, well, you know, what if I tell everyone how good a job you did and you did it for half price instead?
Yeah.
They would be like, go and find another heating engineer, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And that would be the polite way of putting it, right? So it's really hard to justify and to explain to people, I think, how much time and effort goes into building a custom bike. And to build that out, I don't doubt that Jonathan's builds are you know, cost that much, you know, with time, materials, rates. I mean, he's got a workshop to pay for.
Exactly. You know, it's all the practicalities of it, isn't there?
All these things. Yeah. And it's a luxury item at the end of the day. I think if you're going to be building bikes for commission, that's one thing, but building a bike to then turn a profit or whatever, that's a whole other kettle of fish. It's really hard to build a custom bike for profit. I don't think it's really possible, unless you get really lucky and find some, you know, multimillionaire with money to burn. But
But this is the thing: your customer base is not going to be the person that's complaining about the cost of your end product. Your customer base is going to be the person that really appreciates that artwork, the craft that's gone into it. So they know how much work's gone into that, and they will pay for it. Obviously, you're narrowing down your customer base, but those people exist. I get it with my tours.
Totally.
You know, I get comments from some people that go, "Why would I pay that? I can just go and do that myself." Yeah, you're right, 100%. You're not my market. My market are the people that want everything done for them, or they haven't got the confidence to go and do it for themselves. They come away with us, they have a great time, and they can go and do that themselves the next time. They know what's possible, what is out there. It's
totally
knowing your customer, isn't it?
And sometimes it's nice to just have your handheld and not have to worry about a lot of the logistics and things like that.
True. You know, true.
That's why people book all-inclusive holidays and stuff. You pay one price and you get to do all this cool stuff, and you don't have to worry about all the logistics. Like, I totally get that. I also understand why that's maybe not some people's bag, but then, like you say, you're not the market, or you're not the target customer. True. There are plenty of people who could, go into a bike showroom and buy a bike off the shelf, and that's all they want. You know, I don't know, a brand new bike's costing them $7 or $8 grand or whatever. Why would I pay 12 grand for a custom bike? Well, if you don't think that is worth it, then you're not the customer. You're not
my customer.
Yeah. And
sure.
It's a huge luxury item at the end of the day. You can't deny that a custom bike, or even just any motorbike for that, stretch the imagination, is anything but a luxury. So it's a very small market to be in, which I think is why people like Jonathan, their game is very high and their quality is very high to stand out from the crowd. But I don't know if there's a guy, Black Dog Moto, that I follow, and he built a bike that was a bit of a poster bike for the Bike Shed show last year. Beautiful BMW, it's beautiful hand-built fairing and things like this. And I don't know if they did officially say who it was, but it basically got bought by a Hollywood A-lister.
Wow.
After seeing it at the show. Or someone saw it and who had a contact and showed them it, and this Hollywood A-lister has bought it for I'm assuming a good price. That's dream territory.
Yeah, that's what you want, isn't it?
Blank check kind of thing. And I think a lot of Jonathan's builds are more than worthy of that. I think he'll find that with the customers that he attracts. If he went and started building really cheap bikes tomorrow, all he was going to do is devalue himself as a brand, So all power to him, and like you say, he's a really, really lovely guy, and I've got loads of time for him, so I wish him all the best.
Absolutely. You spoke about this chap earlier, Hurley Custom Seats. I guess the question that is on my mind: why does Euan insist on sending me nudes all the time? I get it. You're a fireman.
Yeah. Well, I did say Tom, he has to unsubscribe from my OnlyFans then. No, I don't have an OnlyFans. That would almost certainly get me the sack.
Yeah, all right. You and your fireman mates doing calendars. We know what you're like.
Well, Tom, if you would just send me them back, then I wouldn't feel like I have to send so many. That's basically it.
Why is he laminating them? That's what I would want to know.
Unrequited love. He gets them laser etched onto seats.
This is it.
Yeah.
Tom, so he can sit on your face one more time.
Tom did a seat recently that he put on his social media for a Gixxer, I think, and the pillion seat had a vibrator in it.
Really?
This was a commission.
Wow. Well, they do say that about Gixxer riders.
Yeah, for exactly the reason you think. And Tom had to go and source a vibrating unit and a control module and stuff, and sew this into a very nice looking seat. So he is a master of his craft.
Wow. Wow, I never
Go
thought
and
I would
check
hear
out.
that.
Yeah, go and check it out. Tom's. If you haven't checked him out, Tom's seats are incredible. He's done. He does a lot of like Triumph bobber seats and things like that. A lot of Harley seats as well. He's done a lot of work for like the Harley dealership up in Scotland. He's done seats for Sam McEwan, the Scottish actor
The
from
actor,
Outlander.
yeah.
He did the seat for his bike. He's done a lot of stuff with him. Like he's really top tier.
Wow. Knocking it out the park by
Is
the
that
sound
enough,
of it.
Tom? Have I plugged you enough?
Yeah. Have you given him enough plug?
He slipped me. He slipped me some money to plug him. Yeah.
I was going to say invoice is in emails inbound.
Yeah.
Speaking of deviants, we've got another one here. Remotorcycled. How you doing, Struan?
Oh, funny that.
If Euan could build a bike for you, Bruce, what would it be? Ooh. God.
Oh, what would you like me to build you, Bruce?
Build a bike for me. Well, I am a big GS fan, but I'm also a Gixxer boy. Not that I have a dildo in my seat. God, build a bike for me. I really like the sound of this bike you're talking about with like the aluminium bodywork on it. Do you remember the? I know it was a bag of poo, but the Norton that came out a few years ago, the V4 Norton, and it had that stunning silver fairing all around it. I just remember looking at that and thinking, "Oh my God, that's gorgeous!" And then they did like a cafe version of it as well, a naked version, and I thought that was stunning, absolutely stunning.
I mean, I would love to build something of that nature, and if I could do it of that kind of quality, I'd be over the moon. But I don't know, like, I suppose you do a lot of adventure riding and motovlogging and stuff like that, but then that's not really where the custom world's at. Maybe I'd want to build you a bike for the sunny days when you just want to put on down to the cafe and have people admire your original Eagle Shed motorcycle.
I have a real joy for little bikes. Like I really enjoy riding little 125s and stuff. I've got one coming soon. I'm going to be doing another round the UK thing, and I enjoy riding small CC bikes just because it puts a smile on your face. And I had this real shitty Chinese make bike. I did a thing with a TV show just when I first left the old built, and we were given a budget of like 500 quid, and you had to go and buy a bike. It had to be roadworthy. You had to get it to the KTM off-road school in Wales. Forgotten the name of it. You had to get it there anyway, and then we were going to be doing a bike Olympics when we were there. They didn't tell you what was involved, but that was the thing. Buy a bike, roadworthy, get it there, and then if there was anything left, the winner would be the one that had a bike left at the end of it. So I left it to the last minute as always, and I think I went on Facebook Marketplace, and literally a couple of miles up the road, there was a geezer selling a 125 for like 150 quid or something stupid like that. So I bought the bike. It had an MOT, miraculously, because it looked like it had been at the bottom of a harbour. And I used the rest of the money to buy a little bike ramp to get it into a van, and hired a van. And I vanned it there. And my bike was the only one that survived the whole day. And so I brought that home, and I thought to myself, I'm going to teach myself mechanics on this, I am going to do a custom build. I'm going to teach myself. Sat in my garage for 5 years. And I ended up giving it away. So it's gone now.
Oh, no.
But I did have this bike. But it was just cheese. The metal was just rusted, corroded. And it was just cheese. But yeah, I think I would like a little WCC bike.
I've got a 1980 Yamaha XS250. Which I built during lockdown, actually. And it's, I suppose, a sort of scramblery style. It's got knobbly tyres on it and things. But it's just the most fun thing to ride around the lanes around here.
Yeah.
Like, it is, to use a great Scottish expression, it's slower than a week in the jail.
I've never heard that.
Have you not? Oh,
no,
slower
never
than a
heard
week in the
that.
jail. Aye. Slower than a week in the jail, and it's underpowered. There was a 400 version as well, which was effectively the same engine, just a bigger barrel and head, and you're effectively riding the weight of a 400 engine with a 250 end, like the weight of a 400 bike, sorry, with a 250 engine. It's so slow, but it's full of character. It's just thumps away. I had it down at Mally Mile in Grimthorpe Castle last year. Went down with Struan and a couple of other friends, and it was, just such a blast. Ragging about on this bike that has no business being in 6-inch deep mud. Completely underpowered bike compared to a lot of people's other bikes, but just smile on my face the whole weekend,
That's what it's all about,
definitely,
man.
I share my affinity with small bikes, yeah, totally.
They're just fun, aren't they? They're just fun to ride.
Yeah.
Ewan's got, Struan's got a couple of questions here. I think we've covered some of them.
Dear.
He says, what bike is on your bucket list to build? What inspires you and your builds? And are there any areas of design out with motorcycles that inspire you? Also, why are you a piece of shit?
That's Struan's trademark.
He's a nice lad, isn't he? He's a nice boy.
He's a lovely boy. He's been brought up well, flung up. That question. Areas of design that inspire me out with.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it?
If I say cars, that's a bit of a cop out, isn't it? I've played guitar for a long time, since I was about 8. So I really like nicely designed musical instruments, especially guitars. Big soft spot for a brand called Ovation that do these guitars that have quite intricate kind of inlays and sound holes. So I like them. I like, in that kind of design aspect. But then I really, really, really like industrial stuff. Like, I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to like big engines, and I don't know if you've ever been on the Waverley paddle steamer.
No, I've not. No, seen it, but not been on
it. Yeah, you've heard of it.
Oh, so,
for anyone that doesn't know, it's one of the last, or might even be the world's last, fully functioning like ocean-going paddle steamer, and it docks at just near the Pacific Quay, where the BBC building is in Glasgow, and you can go on it for the day, and it'll take you down the water, to Dunoon or whatever, to Rothsay, and it is a great day out. But the best part of it is that the engine room is completely open, and it has a sort of gantry above it, and you can stand on this gantry and watch like literally thousands of big chunks of highly polished brass just going, and you could be sailing past all these beautiful sights down the Clyde, down the estuary, and to the island, and I would spend the whole time just looking at this machine, because it's such a beautiful thing. It's designed well, it functions well, it's highly polished. It's an engine, but it's a piece of machine art as well, and the power in it, you can't help but just get soggy pants, I defy anyone to go on that. I defy anyone to go on that boat and not spend a good portion of that journey stood looking at the engine operating.
Wrecked.
Phenomenal. Yeah. It went over to Dunkirk, that thing.
Did it?
It did, yeah. Yeah. You can read all about it, but it's got a bit of history to it. The Waverley paddle steamer. I think they're actually they've been restoring it. I think they put a new boiler in it recently or something to the tune of several million.
Bloody hell.
It's all, I think it's a charity or a trust or something that runs it as well, so it's incredible. Ever find yourself in Glasgow with
I lived in Glasgow for 6 years, and I heard all about the Waverley, but never ever saw it, went on it.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
Wow.
Like I say, the engine just blows my mind. And the wee guy stood there in his full boiler suit and little flat cap and kind of grubby face, just pulling the odd lever now and then, and this thing just goes along like, I'm getting excited thinking about it.
You think about all the engineering prowess that was there in the Clyde, and it's all gone now.
Yeah.
Just what a shame.
It's very sad, really.
What a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just thousands and thousands and thousands of people employed, churning out world-leading bits of engineering, mechanics, and it's all
That's
gone.
the Tories for you.
Christ. Politics. Let's not get on politics.
No. I mean, Glasgow's got such an industrial heritage, and I mean, Scotland in general, but Glasgow especially with the Clyde and shipbuilding and things. Like, I think if I'd been born, 30 years previously, doing like an apprenticeship at the shipyard, becoming a welder or a riveter or something, I'd have been in my element.
Yeah.
Then going to the boozer at lunchtime for a few pints of flat ale and then go back.
That's it.
Yeah. With a wee flat cap.
Right. I think we better crack on because we've got, actually, no, we've only got 3 more questions to get through. Have you got the time for that? I'm very conscious of the time, and you're at work tomorrow early as well.
I have at work tomorrow. I'll manage.
Sure.
That's what coffee's for.
Okay. Right. Real Schwerty. Since I have zero mechanical knowledge, is it possible to put in a modern hydraulic clutch on a 90s Honda Transalp as an example bike? And also ride by wire so that a cruise control could be installed. Okay. Right. Fix that, please. To you.
Cruise control wise, I think you're on to plums. Certainly not ride by wire anyway. Like some kind of, like the kind of, the Honda STs and things had a bit of a cruise control, a kind of crude latch and stuff, didn't they?
Right.
Not sure about that one. Clutch is an easy one. Short answer is yes. You can get hydraulic clutch actuators for old cable operated clutch setups. We fitted one.
You're talking Russian to me. Yeah.
So the XP750 I built for Tom, we did it on this. So if you imagine like an old motorbike, I've got one right here. You've got your little clutch actuator, right? So your clutch cable goes in here and it pulls on this arm.
Right. Yeah.
Takes the pressure off your clutch plates. You can change gear.
Yeah.
All it is a little hydraulic cylinder with a little rod, like an actuator rod. And on the end of the rod is a nipple very much like the end of like a clutch cable.
You said nipple. Sorry.
I said nipple. Sorry. Nipple. And what that does is you can run a hydraulic line to like a hydraulic clutch lever. And when you pull the lever, it just forces that hydraulic piston to move, which in turn pulls the rod as if you were pulling a cable, and it actuates the clutch for you. So it's a way of replacing a cable operated clutch with a hydraulic one. So you can get them, they're readily available. You can even get really, really cheap Chinese ones as well. I would maybe hazard a guess and say they weren't the best quality. Maybe if you're going to do it, fork out for a slightly better one. But like I say, we fitted one to Tom's bike, very effective, easy enough to fit. And yeah, you effectively upgrade the clutch on an old bike to something a bit more, like can you modulate it a bit more?
Right, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Right, I'm gonna play the part of someone that has no mechanical knowledge at all. Obviously, I do. Obviously, I know the answer. Obviously, this is for the benefit of those that don't. Obviously, why would you replace like a traditional cable clutch with a hydraulic clutch? What's the benefit of that?
I mean, it could just be from a purely aesthetic point of view, is you want a matching set of levers. A lot of custom builds, if you're putting like a modern set of brake levers and clutch levers, you would maybe looking at a hydraulic clutch lever and therefore need to run some kind of hydraulic clutch.
Right.
But practically, you could maybe argue that a hydraulic clutch has a little bit more feel to it. Cable clutches can sometimes feel a bit on-off. Whereas obviously on a motorbike, if you ride the clutch a little bit more, you feather the clutch, you might get a bit more response from a hydraulic one. You certainly do on a bike or an engine that is designed factory with a hydraulic clutch. But yeah, possibly changing out a cable to a hydraulic one, you could improve the clutch feel. Yeah, me playing devil's advocate, I'm not convinced it would make that much of a difference. I think the only reason we really did it on Tom's bike was so that we had 2 matching levers.
Okay.
Really.
Aesthetic then.
Not much more than that. Yeah. And also just a fun little engineering challenge.
There you go. That was on behalf of you divs out there that haven't got that mechanical knowledge. Now you're up to speed. All right. You're welcome. Last one on Instagram. Sam Becker, IWWT. You have to.
In Wrench We Trust. That's Sam.
Is that what it is? Apologies, Sam.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. You have to grab one bike, a bottle of whiskey, and a record before the world ends. What are they? No budget, no limit. Also, would you marry a French dude? Right, there's a story there. Let's cover the first bit.
Yeah.
Bike, bottle of whiskey, and record.
Bike, bottle of whiskey, record. Right. Oh, how wanky can I get? But I mean, bottle of whiskey. I'm a big whiskey fan, so that's a really hard one. Can't really go wrong with like a Glenallachie 15. Like 15-year-old Glenallachie, just huge, big Speyside sweetness, Christmas cake, punch you in the face. Yeah.
You like those, do you? You like that type of whiskey?
So I like a bit of smoky whiskies as well, but I have a big soft spot for something that just cuddles me, something big and... So yeah, Glenallachie 15, bike. I've got to grab a bike before the world ends.
Yeah.
But maybe my XJR, because I built it and I loved the bits.
Yeah. It's your baby.
Yeah. And record. I mean, if we're going through my record collection, this could be embarrassing.
Steps.
Steps. Yeah, exactly. ABBA,
there's nothing wrong with ABBA.
There's a little bit wrong with ABBA. I'm a big Bob Dylan fan, so probably like Blonde on Blonde. It's a great album. It's got all the good stuff on it. Starts off with Quinn the Eskimo, which of course is everybody must get stoned.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
So it's a good album, very good album. Not that I condone recreational drug use in any way whatsoever.
Oh hell yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Oh, go on,
do it.
No, it's very bad. Bad kids, don't do it.
It's not.
Was that it? Bike, whiskey, record.
Yeah, and then also, would you marry a French dude? What's that all about?
I'd marry Sam at the drop of a hat.
Is he French?
Sam's French. Yeah, Sam is from. Oh, see if I get this right. Saint-Brieuc, which is in Brittany, in France. Okay. And I met Sam via the internet. I did exactly what my parents warned me against, and I met a foreigner
on a funny little app.
The internet. On a funny little app. So Sam, I can't actually remember how we met, but I think he came across my channel or my page or whatever, and we conversed. He's a maker. Like do you know Gus from Man Cave Makings?
Mm-hmm.
The fellow's got that kind of idea. So he's just really good with his hands. He makes like fun little things. He makes light stands. He makes sometimes like jewelry and things. Sam's just really, really good with his hands, and he's just kind of really creative. He is an absolute hoot. He loves whiskey as well. He came over last year to go to the Mallee Mile with me and Struan, and shared a very long van journey down from Scotland to Grimthorpe, where lots of hilarity ensued. He's just such a cool guy. And then he came back up with me and stayed at my house for a couple of days, and I took him to his first whiskey distillery. I took him to the Kelpies, and I took him to Doon Castle, where Monty Python was filmed. So I just did some proper touristy stuff with him and had a blast. So I would have Sam back in a heartbeat. I also fed him a deep fried Mars bar.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Aren't they good?
Nothing.
I had my first one of them. Awesome.
They're amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. They get a lot of jokes because the Scottish people deep fry anything. Don't knock a deep fried Mars bar until you've tried one.
Yeah. What's your opinion on a pizza crunch?
Ooh, now that's a hard sell.
It's a heart attack.
I need to be a few pints deep for a pizza crunch.
It's my son's favourite. Basically, folks at home, pizza crunch is a slice of pizza, you guessed it, dropped in the deep fat fryer, and it's a big thing in Glasgow. And my son loves a pizza crunch.
He'll deep fry anything. He'll deep fry your gran.
I don't know why they die at like 30 from heart disease. I've got no idea.
Nah, it's a mystery.
So anyway,
no idea.
From that question, Euan, what we can surmise is you met a French guy on the internet through an app who's great with his hands.
Fantastic. I'd like that on a t-shirt.
It might be in a reel, so we'll see. And where's the last question gone? Oh, bloody hell. I won't stand by. Over on Facebook, there was a question here. There it is. Nathan Turner. Good day, both from snowy Saskatoon. Good day, Nathan. What one bike would you like to blow up? The podcast.
What bike would I like to blow up?
Yeah.
Like a bike I
Please
really don't like.
Say a GS. Don't say a GS. Please don't say a GS.
I wouldn't say a GS. That's a tough one. I would have to really dislike a bike to want to cause physical harm to it. Like, that's harsh.
It is, isn't it? I'm trying to think is there a bike out there that I really detest at that extent?
I hate so much I would blow it up. I mean, I could think of bikes that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I don't know. That stumped me. A bike. I'm just such a nice guy, you know. The idea of destroying a piece of machinery is probably harder than causing physical violence to a person.
Okay, well, let's tweak that question a little bit if we can. Then, is there a bike out there currently that you look at and just think, well, that to me is just screaming for this to be done to it, this change?
I think to go with like a lot of the trend just now is like your adventure bikes and your, you know, the kind of bikes that have such good mile per gallon so that you don't have to get off it as often and see the bike. You know what I mean? A lot of these bikes...
You're talking about the 1300 GS by any chance?
No. Me? What?
I like the look of it, man. I genuinely like the look of it. Sorry.
I think there's a lot of these bikes, I think, lean in towards that kind of just bigger is better and these huge big plastic fairings and things that aren't super practical. They're just to try and give the bike more of a presence, and like they're just so tall and enormous and huge. And I'd like to get like a, I don't know, like a newer Transalp or Africa Twin or something, and like minimize a lot of the fairing work to just like necessities. Like I think it's what we did a little bit with Tom's XV750 was to build like an off-road scrambler type of bike that still had a bit of class and elegance about it, but functionality as well. You know, I made a handmade aluminium sump guard and things like that, and it's got hand guards and a big fenders on both sides, but it's just done with a bit more, you know, that I like the old Dakar bikes and I like the big blocky nature of them and stuff, but
yeah,
I would quite like to see a bit more finesse about some of them. You know, maybe that's the best way I could put it, but the blowing up of bikes I can't condone.
We'll end with that. Dude, I really appreciate that. That's almost 3 hours we've been at this, and it's now quite late at night. So I really appreciate you giving your Sunday evening for us. Is there anything we've not covered that you want to cover, or any shout outs you want to give? Feel free. It's yours. Go.
I don't know. I mean, shout outs wise, I've pretty much talked about everyone in my small friend group there. Sam and Struan and Tom and Jonathan. I think shout out wise, I should probably give a nod to AM Philpots, who are pitted forks. They rechrome motorbike forks. Don't know if you ever come across them in your travels, but they have supported me from day dot. I got my XS250 forks chromed by them, and I paid for it myself. And I just did an honest post on Instagram about what great service they did, and they got in contact and we struck up a relationship whereby they now rechrome all my forks for free. And it's incredible because the service they do is awesome. They literally pick them up, like a courier picks them up from my house, takes them down to, I think they're in Luton. They rechrome my forks and then they come back to me like looking better than brand new. And it is better than brand new. They use like a hard chrome as opposed to the kind of decorative chrome that most motorbike manufacturers use. So it's way more hard wearing, doesn't pit like a lot of like chrome forks do. And they're just, it's a nice family company, AM Philpot. I think the kind of bike branch of the is called Pitted Forks, pittedforks.com.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll give them a shout out because they have got the forks for this bike just now and they're chroming them as we speak. And like I say, I don't have any other sponsors or anything, but they have really kind of supported me from, like I say, day dot. So huge shout out to them. If you have a crusty set of forks or a pitted set of forks, get them over to Philpots. And they even offer a service where you don't even have to strip the forks. They will do it all for you. They can polish your lowers and they can powder coat the lowers. They can do all that kind of thing. So full service, and especially with classic and vintage bikes where you can't just go and buy a new set of fork tubes. Like it's a total amazing service and a good British company to support.
Fantastic. Nice shout out. In fact, I'll find out the links to that, folks, and I'll make sure I put them down below as well. So check them out. And if people want to find out more about you and what you're doing, where do they go?
So all my Instagram, YouTube, social media handles are all at Shoogly Shed Motors. So that's my YouTube channel is mostly my kind of long form content videos where I'm like fabricating or doing maintenance or just custom work in general. Instagram tends to be mainly promoting my YouTube channel, but then also I post little snippets from my day as I'm, working on stuff as well. I don't have a Twitter account or that kind of thing. So yeah, Instagram and YouTube are the two main things. I do have a Facebook page, but it's just linked to my Instagram and just posts what I post on Instagram. So check me out, Shoogly Shed Motors. And I am always happy to answer questions and comments. I get people send me messages about mechanical things that they're struggling with, and I'm always happy to offer a bit of advice if I can help. So don't be afraid to message me. I'm nice.
Well, all those links will be down below, folks. And like I always say in these podcast episodes, if you enjoy what the people are producing, what they're creating. The best thing you can do for people currently is not only just the like and the subscribe and follow and all that jazz, but sharing it. Like sharing it is a massive, massive, massive thing, and engaging. So, like Euan said, if you've got a question, leave a little question in the comments. That really does help massively. Massively. Yeah. So if you enjoy what he's doing, make sure you give him a check out. Make sure you give him a subscribe, a follow, and all that jazz. Tell your mates. Right, mate. That is 3 hours and late on a Sunday evening. Thank you very much for your company. I've really enjoyed chatting to you. Really enjoy watching the vids.
Thank you as well, yeah.
Like there is, as someone that fannies about with video and editing, I really appreciate the effort that you're putting into your vids. I know how much time and effort all of those shots take, and fair play to you. And the work that you're creating. Like, you make a Luddite like me interested in mechanics. Watching what you do, to me, it's like magic. It's like, oh, right. And I almost get a small grasp for what's going on when you explain what's happening with the different components. So fair play to you.
Well, I mean, in the same vein, I am in awe of anyone that can set up a good motovlogging setup, because I have tried and failed many times, and I decided it's not for me.
I'm going to do a vid on this new setup because it's so easy now. It has just been made infinitely easier now. So I'll do a new vid on that. But anyway, thank you very much for your company. It's much appreciated. Folks, hope you've enjoyed this one. Keep doing your thing. Yeah. Get on out there whenever you can. Look after those that you love. But most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha! Let me stop that.